Cross. Here we go. Brothers, the light is on. I see the red button, and that means we are live. We are on the third and final stop, at least for us, on our road to SummerSlam 2023 live Saturday, August 5th in Detroit. Like, what is it called? What's it? Is it Ford Field? At Ford Field. Is it Ford Field?
It's Ford.
Okay.
Yeah.
So listen, anyway, Ford Field, we have plenty to talk about. We got plenty to get into, not to mention there's Brandon trolling me again. Stop putting in my title before I call the police or something. We have a lot to get into today, including the Elite re-signing with AEW. Not to mention, and guess what? I have a special hot take about that. Not to mention, we got to get into the latest episode of Championship Culture. There's so much to do, but guess what? We can't wait, so we got to play the intro. Let's go.
Houston, we have a problem.
Yes!
There it is. Welcome to the Wrestling Rum Now podcast, where we take a deeper dive into the world of professional wrestling. Now, you can watch all of our Wrestling Rum content anytime on youtube.com/The Wrestling Rum. I am your host, yours truly, the realness himself, the real Dwayne Allen. I don't know why I started talking with movie phone voice. He is your host, Has the Third. Welcome back, buddy. H to the A to the S, T to the H to the E, 3 to the R to the D, Brother Hugh in the building. And not last but not least, the Belt King himself, Brandon the Guy, the mastermind behind the latest and hottest show in the world of professional wrestling internet community. Championship Culture in the building. Brian H. Waters may be joining us. He may not be. But if he does, trust me, expect an epic run-in. But we want you to follow us on all social media platforms, including Instagram. Check this out, guys. Threads. I'm still calling it Twitter. And Facebook at Wrestling Rum. Like, subscribe, and engage in the conversation with us. You know they changed it so much on Twitter that it doesn't even say retweet anymore. It says repost. It's crazy.
Yeah,
right?
I saw that. Right.
It's insane. Anyway, you can stream and download all of our audio content on Anchor, Stitcher, Podbean, Pocket Cast, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. You can watch us and subscribe to our Twitch channel at The Wrestling Rum. Shout out to everybody on our Twitch channel. You've been very patient with us, and we're trying to figure it out. Trust me. When we get a little bit more time on our hands to do the things that we do, trust me, there's going to be plenty of content on our Twitch channel. But with that being said, if you want to support the brand and you want to support the Wrestling Rum, head over to WrestlingRum.com. Dum. There it is. I didn't hit the button today. Usually we have a soundbite for that, but I just did it myself. Shop now at WrestlingRum.com for all your t-shirts, hoodies, and merchandise needs. That's right. If you want to be a proud wrestling fan, or you just want to display your superior wrestling intellect, head over to WrestlingRum.com. T-shirts, hoodies, mugs, so much more. We got a lot. Not to mention this. If you haven't seen it, this is our latest collection. That's right. It's patterned after the one of the greatest Monday Night Raw original logos. That's right. That's available now. They came out in fall or winter of 2022 last year. But guess what? The merchandise is still available. So if you want to purchase this, be a part of the brand and look cool in the process, WrestlingRum.com is your destination. I feel like I turned into like a radio like advertiser host when I do these things.
Yeah, you giving that type of vibe.
I did. That's what I'm feeling right now. But with that being said, head over to patreon.com. See, I'm selling stuff. /wrestling_rum. That's right. For all exclusive shows and bonus material. We have things that we can't sell on the air. We have stories that have been told that I don't know if we said them on the air, we might get a little jammed up for it. But guess what, though? If you nosy, you want to know what's going on, you can definitely head over to patreon.com /wrestling_rum for all exclusive shows and bonus material. Trust me, you can subscribe for just as low as $1. But trust me, the opportunity is available. I said, but trust me, like 8 times. What's going on right now?
I don't know. Really want them to trust you.
No, it's good. I think they should trust me, because guess what? Trust me. If you look at to purchase tickets to concerts, live shows, sporting events, and more, Head over to SeatGeek.com where you can use promo code Wrestling Realm to save $20 off any one-time purchase of $50 or more. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. If you have never done this before, you can purchase tickets. The summer is coming down to an end, but there's plenty of shows, there's plenty of live events, it's plenty of festivals still available. And guess what? Tickets are expensive these days, especially if you're buying more than one. So if you've never done this before, guess what? You can head over to SeatGeek.com and use promo code Wrestling Realm. Do yourself a favor and save yourself $20 off your purchase. SeatGeek.com, promo code Wrestling Realm. Bam. Clickety clow. See, I got into all that. Is there anything else? Is that everything?
So I can think
That's
of
everything.
you
No, it's not everything. You know what's not everything? It's because this is the time when we sit there and review the latest, greatest, hottest show on the Wrestling Realm Network. Championship Culture. That's right, with Brandon the Guy. If you're not familiar, we got to get you an updated thumbnail for this, brother. But Championship Culture featuring Brandon the Guy and his executive producer, Brother Hugh himself, has a third. That's right. See, we didn't used to put Brother Hugh's business out there before, but we definitely you guys have got to be one of the fastest rising shows in all of the pro wrestling media / community that is out there right now. And you had a crazy banger. We got to start putting your latest thumbnails up there on these two, because if people see the artwork, you will know exactly how fire these shows are. But on the latest episode of Championship Culture, Brother Brandon, the guy, the Belt King himself, tell us about what exactly was this particular episode about.
All about this belt.
Look at that thing. It's a beauty.
This, for the people that might be listening, we talking about the NXT North American Championship, introduced in 2018. There's a story behind it, why it's in my collection. And if you pay attention to our social media, I even gave you my top 5 champions. Even though this belt has only been around for 2018, it's definitely building a lineage that 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, we'll be talking to it just as much as we would probably, I would say, any other second-tier belt that we have. So definitely check out the latest episode of Championship Culture, where every belt has a story. Go ahead and check this one out.
Listen, one thing you specifically said, I can't get my words out. I said specifically. Got my words are getting all twisted up. If you can understand where we're going tonight, you have to see there, daddy. One thing specifically you pointed out is you pointed out your top 5 favorite North American NXT North American champions, which I thought was very interesting. But I think that's the beauty about Championship Culture, is that it's so multidimensional when it comes to everything you discuss, all the way down from how us fans we relate to these championship titles, because everybody knows that championship titles help make what we do special, right? We know where we were when our favorite wrestlers won titles in certain situations, in certain aspects. And the NXT North American Championship is definitely an underrated beauty, man. So kudos to you, brother. Excellent job. If you have not seen it, please go back and binge watch all the rest of the shows on youtube.com/the Wrestling Realm. Go check under the playlist Championship Culture. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. I think I'm gonna go back and watch that one again. Like, I'll literally watch your show, Brother Brandon, and I start coming up with different notes and ideas. And I'm like, man, this is dope. Literally, because even though it's your show, you produce it, I'm like, man, this is the conversations that I like to have, because we're belt guys. And just like the Wrestling Realm, it's usually a conversation we had. We'd be like, all right, I'm just gonna call it. I don't know how many times, and Brother Hugh, this probably happens to you too. You be on the phone with Brandon, you be like, all right, after this, I'm gonna let you go. And then an hour later goes past. Like, all right, man, listen, now real quick, last thing before I get ready to let you go. And then you look up, like 45 more minutes pass. I was like, dang, we don't find hour 15, 30 minutes just catching up and going through as much as we possibly can. Does that happen to you too?
It happens all the time.
It's worse.
All the time.
Well, we
almost
argue
every day.
We argue, oh, well, why don't you put this in the show? I'm like, I don't want to do that. Let's do this. Like, no, do this. No, this be hot. Let's do this. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. And then he'd be like, no, you gotta do this. I'm like, but I would. All right, fine, we're doing this. So
right. Bro, that's the best part about producing any type of media. Anytime you're producing content, that's the fun part about it, man. That's the process that you go through, man. But I think you guys work absolutely amazing together. You guys are doing great things. Like I said, as much as Championship Culture is a part of the brand, I'm a huge fan of, what you guys do and just your vision. It's coming together way better than I even realized. Like, I knew you were going to do a show, and I knew you were going to do something amazing, especially with just, first of all, you put your money where your mouth is. You know what I mean? So, like, when you say you're a fan of the NXT North American Championship, I mean, it's draped around your shoulder, and then you have another 150 belts in that museum of yours that you call a room, where you house all that championship glory. But before we move on, because today we have a big show, and I'm not sure how much of what we're going to get through, but we're going to do our best, and hopefully we won't be as long with as possible. But I got to get this off my chest.
What's up?
I freaking thought about something. See, I called you guys before, right? I hate you guys in group text like we always do. You know, brotherhood. We got a group text where we discuss our ideas and check on each other, all that good jazz, right? And and I mentioned a show idea recently, right? And as soon as I got off the freaking phone, texting you guys that idea, I got another idea, and I literally was like, I gotta ask them a question. I said, I'm purposely gonna put them both on the spot because I'm asking when we live and on the freaking air, about a show. So I'm gonna shoot my shot right now. Brother Brandon, Brother Hugh has the third in the building. Wrestling Rum Now podcast, live and in color. One thing I have not heard either one of you guys talk about in detail, but it's almost like kind of taboo. Don't start sweating now, Brother Brandon. He's sweating. Look at him. He's trying to brace some stuff. Nah, don't get nervous.
You tee up the question. I thought I'd tee up some questions. You tee them up to make them start thinking.
Listen, I got to get people interested in what I'm talking about, right? How do you feel about secondary titles? And you say, well, what the heck is a secondary title? I'm not talking about like the Intercontinental compared to the World Championship. I'm talking about the titles that aren't really meant to be titles, but they're meant to be trophies, but then they end up turning into titles. For example, I was watching AEW. That's my thing now because I watch AEW. And when Jungle Boy Jack Perry.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm getting there with Jungle Boy Jack Perry. You're dead man, Jack Perry. Came out, was facing off with my boy Hook, and they had I believe Tony Schiavone had given a certain fact about the FTW championship, and it said this championship has been displayed. So first of all, my fault. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now.
I see Drew.
We got time there we go from the broadcast. What's up, brothers? What's going on? Look at Drew. Look at Drew. What's up, Drew? What's up, baby? Look at that. Of course, our guys to the building. Dylan Matthews, all the way from Australia. Look at you in the building.
Always locked in.
So thank you all.
Was he on time? I apologize,
Dylan. He was there early, man.
Time. Yeah.
E-Money in the building. What's going on, brother? Yo, listen to me. He was there. Like he was there while we were still rapping. So, but like I said, the FTW title, they talked about this championship has been defeated in so many other promotions since I don't know when he introduced it. I want to say 1995. I could be wrong. But if you look at his lineage, it's kind of traveled because it was never, like I looked on AEW's website and it's not really considered a championship, but it's still defended. But that's kind of how it was always booked in ECW all the way up to where it is in AEW. I think it might have made an appearance in TNA for a little bit. I could be wrong. And how it is in AEW, you look at the same thing with the $1 Million Championship. The $1 Million Championship was meant to be a trophy, but yet it has been defeated. It has been defended. And most recently, in recent day, it was defended, I guess, I don't know what, 2020, 21-ish, I guess, when LA Knight and Cameron Grimes said it was the battle of the millionaires. You know what I mean? And then once again, it was a title that was defended, but it was meant to be a trophy. So you look at things like the Hardcore Championship. The Hardcore Championship was not meant to be a full-blown championship. It was meant to be a trophy. So I was like, man, I wonder if Brother Brandon and Brother Hugh ever thought about doing a show where they discuss their favorite secondary titles that really weren't meant to be, or like the championship title that Braun Strowman run at I don't know if it was Crown Jewel or
the Greatest Royal Rumble.
Yeah, at the Greatest Royal Rumble, and he got a championship belt. Like I said, it wasn't meant to be a championship to be defended, but it was just a trophy. So I was like, man, I wonder how they feel. And I'm sure there's probably a handful of others out there in the world. I know it's probably not that many, but I wonder. I'm like, man, how come they never talk about these things? And I wonder what their favorite secondary titles are. Where it's like, man, a title gets so popular where it actually ends up getting defended on TV. It's like, wait a minute, this is supposed to be a championship. So I just thought I'd put that out there in the atmosphere for you guys to let that sizzle in your spirits a little bit. But I don't know, Brother Brandon. What do you think about it? Let's ask the belt guy.
Should I respond here? Should I tell?
Go ahead and tell him.
Let me ask the belt guy.
On the list of upcoming shows of championship culture, there is one entitled The Other Title.
Holy cow. We was on the same wavelength. Hold on. Let me hit the soundbite. There it is.
So it's called The Other Title because, like you said, in professional wrestling, we'll have the Intercontinental title, but then you have the European, the Hardcore, the light. We know the light heavyweight has a division, so it's really not another title. Or TNA, the X division, and then they introduce the Legends title or the Grand Champion. So we have a whole show playing for the other title, but yours is a little bit different. It's more oddly specific because that's where those categories like the digital media might come into play.
Okay.
I
sure.
hope that makes sense. So as
No
now
doubt.
you've given us another wrinkle to argue about. So
Yeah.
it might get morphed a little bit.
You know, you know I'm down for a good argument, brother Hugh.
Yes, sir.
What
Yes,
you
sir.
think?
Hey, man. Hey, I'm up. I'm for it. You already know that. Get them. We're gonna get you scheduled. We're gonna get you locked in, Dwayne.
Well, listen to me.
Jump on in, man.
We've already had discussions about some other ideas,
absolutely.
man. But like I said, we just add another wrinkle to the mix, man. But like I said, if you want to catch this argument, if you want to catch these debates, if you want to catch these conversations, like I said, youtube.com/the wrestling realm. Check the playlist, Champion Culture, all the great conversation there. And I'm curious to see where it goes, man. Like I said, I look forward to it every week, and I'm glad that I never know, like I never know who's going, like what the show's going to be about until literally you advertise, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like, so when I saw that North American show, I said, oh, this is dope, man. This is what I'm talking about. It's thinking outside the box, but it's a conversation that needs to be had, which is why we're here with the wrestling realm.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
With that being said, good brothers, let's start the show. We're not going to ring the bell just yet, but let's have a casual conversation, because you know why? You know what it's time for?
What is the time for?
What did you
watch? See this casual. We sound like a full-blown like Price is Right type get up right now. good brothers. What did you watch this week? Now I know we got SummerSlam coming up. We got a lot of stuff in the books. A lot of things kind of happened since the last time that we had this conversation. The SummerSlam shows have been doing great numbers for us, and I didn't expect to do three full-blown parts of it, but hey, this is where we are right now. But besides SummerSlam coming up, what did you brothers get into this week?
Oh man.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
So you were waiting for this part. I can tell. No, listen, it's your show, brother. I can tell by the way you said it. I was like,
I got Hugh to watch. So from what I watched, I influenced Brother Hugh to go watch. So Saturday night, I partook in the Great American Bash. And I will tell you, was it Saturday or Sunday? I'm sorry.
It was Sunday.
Sunday night. The Great American Bash. I'm gonna just say this about it. I can appreciate the NXT is, and I would dare say, back to the black and gold standard that it was when we were at its height, because this show felt like not a PLE. It felt like a pay-per-view. It had a big match feel. Every match felt like it was placed important. Every match on that card was good from start to finish. Even when you didn't think the match was going to deliver, I walked away pleasantly surprised by it. And it was like, from the pre-show match all the way to the main event, every match just got better and better. And I will say that's why I'm wearing my Ilya Dragunov. And I've been on record saying I'm an Ilya Dragunov fan. But he came out in that main event like he was a superstar. And it felt, you know how when he wrestled Walter, you're like, oh man, he could be a threat. I thought up until the last minute he was taking that title. And man, when I tell you, if you had any thought that Carmelo Hayes was not him, if you watch that match, he checked off all of the boxes. And then Ilyanov even did that move. Remember when he was fighting Gunther, and he was elbowing him? I said, they bringing this back. But Carmelo kept, you could tell Carmelo a little hurt right now. His chest is probably ground beef right now, but they beat the holy you-know-what out of each other and kept going. And, every match, I'm going to just say every match was on point. Even that Dirty Dom stuff with the North American title, great match. Wesley, it took 3 people to beat Wesley. That's all I'm going to say about that. But I'm going to turn it over to you because I can talk about the Great American Bash. And of course, I'm not finished the Cody documentary yet.
Oh boy,
come on, man!
Get into that. I didn't finish it yet. All right, I didn't finish it.
Can I ask you a question? How much of it did you get through? What did you leave off at?
I'm up to I'm past the exploding pack, and it's right after when he getting ready to go to WrestleMania. When he comes back for the Royal Rumble, I'm at that point.
Okay, you got through a good chunk of it. So
I can say I was pleasantly surprised that they had so much Dusty, as much interview footage they had for him. Like, I feel like, have they been planning this all along? Like, because think about it, this is 10 years in the making plus.
Well, they were going to do something anyway. Ever since he passed away, you know what I mean. They went and grabbed all their footage, and it's like it's the same footage we've seen before, but now they can go back and use all the Cody stuff.
It's. I'm surprised.
Trust me. We're we're gonna get into it. I feel like I'm gonna make one comment before I get to you, brother, here, and I promise I'm not gonna jump the gun. I'm gonna wait till we get to that segment of the show. I'll say this. I gotta feel it looks like WWE was probably watching like these A&E documentaries, like, man, they telling our stories better than us, man. Something's got to give. But
I felt like that.
It's like, usually because we know you watch the WWE pay-per-view, WWE like documentary, they kind of hold punches, and it's kind of like, certain stuff they don't really touch on, but they tried to touch a few
Hold
things.
on to that documentary thing, because I got a comment when we get to that part.
Okay, good. Yeah,
blow your mind.
Got it, because it's like I said, it's on here, brother. What did you get into this week, sir?
That's pretty much it. I've been catching up because I had a busy week last week, so
yep,
doing a lot of catching up. Caught the bash. I didn't catch Collision though. Still haven't with that.
I did,
but I know what happened.
I did watch Collision. I watched Collision.
We like AEW now. It's okay.
Yeah, Collision. that main event.
You like that? That was good.
So Tony Khan reminded me that I can still slap my face, but I'm not as bad when I slap my face because I feel like the wrong person didn't. The whole CM Punk thing I can do without, but because you didn't give them the belts and keep us in that will they, won't they, turn on each other. But you could. I feel like it's so much more you can do with this MJF and Adam Cole story that I don't even care about the world title right now. I just care about them.
That's what it's supposed to be, though. This is why I'm encouraged about AEW, because we're just gonna jump right into it. I'm very encouraged about AEW, and I swear I got a hot take about AEW, but I'm just waiting to see if it's going to offend Brandon, or I just want to see what he has to say. Either I want to see if he agrees with what I'm saying, or he has a rebuttal to it, because what I'm going to say, he has firsthand access and experience from both levels of it. So I'm curious to see what he said, but let's just go ahead and ring the bell. Ding, ding, ding. I don't have the bell sound right here, so let's get into it. This is the SummerSlam preview show, but guess what? We show AEW a little bit of love now. The Elite re-signs with AEW. I don't know if it's not a coincidence, but I'm just playing the devil's advocate. It's ironically right after Cody Rhodes documentary. I feel like a lot of things we talk about is going to just go back to that Cody Rhodes documentary. But the Elite re-signs with AEW after plenty of speculation. I know everybody had a inkling that their contracts was up, and when I say the Elite, of course, I'm referring to Matt and Nick Jackson and Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, as well as Hangman Adam Page, and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega will also retain their executive vice president roles within the company as well. It's kind of obvious that, okay, this is probably a good move, but I want to ask you, good brothers, what's a good idea or a bad idea? And you say, well, realness, why are you saying it's a good idea or a bad idea? What difference does it make? Well, I say this. I know a lot of people felt like that, hey, if now there was a time or an opportunity to go to WWE to trust who's kind of running the show now, you know what I mean? There may be a little bit more creative freedom where you will be celebrated for your accomplishments when you're brought in, rather than kind of given a side eye and forced to prove yourself. Kind of like Chris Jericho had to be. No offense, Brandon. He came into one of the biggest welcomings and from the fans, but we know he had a long ways to go. Big Show was kind of the same way. Versus nowadays, things are a little bit different, right? So I say, okay, well, is it a good idea or was it a bad idea? Because sure, the safe move was always stay with AEW. But at the same time, though, I don't know if you guys have seen the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega lately, but man, they're aging. And I'm going to be honest with you, like Nick Jackson's hairline's going back. They got sunroofs. I said, oh my gosh, the Young Bucks are getting they stressing.
Kenny, like
bro, that's I love. Man, Kenny Omega's just like, everybody knows Kenny Omega's. His body is documentedly banged up. I'm like, man, Kenny Omega's you can barely see him because he needs so much recovery time to get himself situated, because you know what I mean? He has gone so long with so many nagging injuries, and then when he's injured, he's down for about 4 or 5 months or whatever the case may be. Of course, I'm exaggerating. And I'm like, well, shoot, you got to strike while iron is hot. And it's like, well, if you don't go now, then when? Now, those guys could all wrestle another 10 years and still have a small run. You know what I mean? But to be considered a big deal on the big level, it's something you got to think about. Hey, this is I'm sure there's an opportunity, even though the WWE doesn't need them, and the impact probably wouldn't be as felt as I don't know. I can't really say that, but it's WWE stacked. They don't need him right now. Like they're stacked. It's not like they need the elite in WWE. Cody was a notch on the belt. You know what I mean? But the rest of the guys, it's like, they've lost a little bit of buzz being in AEW. That's no disrespect to them. It's just that, you know what I mean? They were hot off of the indies at one point. They were hot off of creation of AEW. And now it's just like, well, they're kind of just, top talent. And there's nothing wrong with that, but there was levels to where they were before. So I was like, let me ask the Good Brothers, is this a good idea or bad idea? Did they make the right move saying, okay, let's stick to what we know. Let's re-sign with AEW rather than saying, let's take a risk and let's join Cody, man. Tony doesn't know what he's doing or whatever the case may be. Let's go see what Triple H and Nick Khan's money look like. What say you, Good Brothers?
I feel like as far as like them maintaining their popularity and their creative control, yes, it was a good move for them.
Okay.
I feel like you said earlier, WWE, they just have too many superstars right now. It would be
loaded,
lost in the
bro.
sauce. Like,
Yeah.
what is there for what's their name? The Young Bucks. What is it for them to do now? Like, who's the tag team tag team champions right now?
You can't touch them. They
you know what I'm saying? So like, there's nothing for them to do there. Kenny, there's a couple of things you can do with him, but it's still too many like superstars there, and then he'll just get lost in the sauce, honestly. So it's better for them to just stay where they are, continue to keep that creative freedom and that power that they have. So plus they can make their own schedules, honestly, basically.
Pretty much. What about you, brother Brandon? Good move or bad move?
They don't have to be on the road as much.
That's also true. Yeah, because I don't. It's not like they. I don't think they even wrestle. They're not wrestling 300 days a year. You know what I mean?
They don't do house shows and all of that good stuff. So it's like
they literally just traveling to TV.
They can preserve their body a little bit better. So, like you said, they are getting old. So
that's actually a good point.
What you just said here, that's actually what I think Cody said was his downfall. He needs those reps. He needs to be able to wrestle. He said he go from doing it 2-3 times a week to like once a month because he had that EVP status. So it actually hurt him more than it would help him. And I honestly think it was a good move for the Bucks, and I'm gonna just say all of them, the elite. It was a good move for them to stay because they have a place, they know who they are, they know what they can do. It was bad timing for them to jump now.
I agree.
If they would have jumped back then, and the thing is, like, if you jump now, yes, we all can talk about he who should not be renamed, but the difference in them and Cody came back home.
There you go.
They would be making a new home for themselves. How can you make a new home? How could Kenny Omega make a new home if they didn't take Jay White, who's almost the same accolades, not the same level, not the same name, the same accolades, couldn't find a space. Let's look at Dragon Lee, and he had to go to NXT to, one, establish himself, and two, to get into the WWE system to understand it, just like Shinsuke Nakamura. If Shinsuke didn't come when he did, it wouldn't have been no time for him. Yeah, you're right. But Shinsuke is in the point of his career. He's leveled off. He's good. He's doing what he's going to do. He gets 3 out of 4 matches on Raw a month. He's probably doing a house show circuit. He's still a draw if they ever go to Japan. But as far as the Young Bucks, they probably looked at their reality because Kevin Owens signed and stayed, but it took almost a year for him to reap the rewards of him signing because, as we know, Vince McMahon rewards loyalty. So under the Vince McMahon era, he re-signed, and guess what happened? He main evented. I didn't even know until they said it. 2 years straight of Mania. Because remember the Stone Cold stuff and then the tag team. So this man is getting main event paychecks from Mania. And if you really, really think about it, it's bad that they didn't pull the trigger when they should have. Mm-hmm. But it's good that they stayed because now they're getting older. They're going to probably stay with All Elite until they can go on their retirement tour to be done in WWE, notch that Hall of Fame. Because even if you think about the Young Bucks, they could be treated like a special attraction. Big time. Because you really don't need them in either company.
Kind of like the Hardys.
Tag teams that can be the face. They just got to be, they got to have that special appearance that when they come, you're like, oh, it's the Young Bucks versus them. Oh, the Young Bucks are here. You don't need to see them every week on TV. Hangman is getting lost in the sauce because he really hasn't had that. I was a world champion, but that's it. He's never had that big moment. Yeah. He was that storyline for a whole year. Moment. Yeah. So if he would have came, he would have been in NXT, probably as a cowboy James Storm. Oh no, that's already a wrestler. He would have had a cowboy gimmick probably and whatever, but it's just bad because I think we all want to see what the WWE machine could do with them, but
Sure.
it's good that they're staying put because WWE Triple H has filled out the roster that I don't care if I see the same match in the same amount of time because it's going to be done a little different.
No, man. And listen, I couldn't agree with you both more, man. I don't have nothing to say. You guys said it best. I agree 100%. It just makes sense, man. And this leads me to my next conversation. We're going to skip the part about after the fact. We'll just kind of mention that. We don't have to keep the whole segment because I got to make this statement. Is that I can genuinely say after 4 or 5 years that AEW is a really good wrestling company. And you say, okay, well, Riddles, where did you get sentiment about AEW about? Well, it's because if you really look at it, they've only been out for 4 years. And I'm seeing a natural progression, right? When they first came out, they made all these extra claims about this, that, and the third. And he was like, come on, man, you got to prove that. You can't come up making all these claims. And once they kind of settled in and they kind of made their points, AEW is a really good show. I'm talking about Dynamite and Collision. Like, I was watching the other day and I just found myself like I was excited to watch it. Not because I was looking forward to anything. It's because I generally enjoyed the show. They had segments where it's funny. They had situations like you mentioned earlier. We talked about MJF and Adam Cole. It's always that odd couple tag team where it's like it's not meant to be long term, but then their chemistry works so well, all of a sudden it becomes hilarious. MJF is just absolutely ridiculous. He's just so funny. I can't get enough of him. And he's bringing the best out of Adam Cole because we're getting to see a different wrinkle of Adam Cole, right? You know, we see him kind of be like kind of the slick talker, kind of more of a degenerate versus now he's kind of like you're seeing different aspects of his personality. And you know, he's rubbing off on him because, you know, if you look at him, his frame is starting to get a little big. Like he's starting to turn into a body guy. And I know
But look how long it took for us to get that MJF.
Well,
he had to go through the growing pains.
And that was the whole point, though. That was the criticism, right? We kept saying, like, dude, why don't you go with your young stars? But if you watch AEW now between the two shows, I'm seeing much more of a balance between guys that have been underutilized in WWE that are featured. I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with like Sting main event. You know what I mean? We're seeing that balance of younger guys trying to be developed, and you know, some of these established names that are coming in to kind of fill in the gaps, right? AEW is such a different product. It's such a mixture. Like we saw WWE, we saw WCW, we saw TNA, Impact. You saw TNA and then you saw Impact. It's because once again they were all different products, and we saw Ring of Honor in its heyday. We saw Ring of Honor in our day, and you see it now. AEW is kind of a mixture of what that used to be. To me, it's a legitimate alternative. Do I consider it competition? No, not by any means, especially not now. But I genuinely enjoy watching. Like I watch stuff like Jack Perry. I couldn't stand him. I was like, dude, I never liked him. I never liked his music. But a couple weeks ago, he comes out to fight Hook. The music is goofy.
Right.
Like, I mean, it's an actual song. First of all, Tony Khan probably pays a ton of money in licensing fees for these songs that he used to be was interested. But he, like, the first video you saw, they play his old music, and then he didn't come out. But then you see a picture of Jack Perry kind of burying what used to be Jungle Boy, and gets in a limo and he pulls out. I'm like, this is what I like to see. I'm seeing character development. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things. And here's my hot take. I'm gonna say this right now. AEW is already a better wrestling company than TNA ever was. That's right. I said it. Think about it. As a company overall, AEW has put more butts in the seat. They have a part-time schedule, and they work in full-time arenas. They have killed it in merchandise. They have given me my action figures that I never had. They put them out on time. They've got some of the they single-handedly created the best Sting t-shirt ever created. His best merchandise I've ever seen. Like, there's so many things that I can say, yo, I respect what they're doing now. And in 4 years, I've seen them change so many things. So, you know, they go from not really having an identity, not making much sense. And there's still a lot of things that they do that don't make much sense. But at the same time, I'm watching so much more young talent work with established talent, and it's finding a way to stick. Like, I feel like I'm watching a genuine alternative. And that's all you can ask for. And I get to see a lot of my favorites the same way I enjoyed TNA in 2004 and 2005 is because once the freaking Attitude Era, I guess, considered ended, you know what I mean? There was a lot of guys that got cut that I was fans of. And everybody that was not in WWE that at one point was in WCW, ECW, they showed up at TNA. And I was like, oh, I like these guys. It was fun. It was in Disney MGM Studios. It felt like WCW Saturday Night and Worldwide. I was like, oh, this is cool. Like surely not WWE anymore, but I get to see Road Dogg and Sean Waltman, and I get to see Scott Hall and Kevin Nash and Jeff Jarrett, and then you see guys like AJ and Monty Brown, and I was like, oh, they and then you saw like new guys like America's Most Wanted that you were familiar with, and then eventually Team Canada, and then eventually Samoa Joe, and then there was a spiral, and of course TNA's show was hard to watch for a long time, but you look back at it now, you appreciate it so much more. But AEW has already surpassed TNA where they were in year 4 versus where AEW is right now. So I'm encouraged with what I'm seeing. I'm like, yo, this is genuinely a good company. They got merchandise, they got beautiful belts. They're starting to implement more than one type of thing into their shows. I'm seeing entertainment. I'm seeing go to wrestling. I'm seeing like the storyline stuff. I'm seeing the vignettes. I'm like, I think they might have figured it out. So I don't know, but brother,
I love how collection starts each week. I love that. I don't know why that makes it feel like it's so much more special.
Freaking Buddy Murphy versus Andrade in a ladder match for a freaking mask. I said, bro, it should have been a belt. It should have been a belt at the top.
It was just him and Buddy. It wasn't him in House of Black. It was just him and Buddy.
Bro, they went out there, Brandon, and they showed their tails off. I said, bro, come on, man. These NXT guys showing off right now.
Because you know what Andrade likes to remind you, I'm still him. He remember he said it was like y'all might have forgot. Let me remind you. But now him, Miro, Buddy Matthews, the House of Black, they all have a chance to actually show. They get to show who they are. And the thing about, I know that I give Tony Khan a lot of flack for this because he still does it, but I think that he's starting to move away from it. He's booking from a fan's perspective because he is a fan. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So if I thank him for that dream match of Daniel and Okada, because who knows when we would have ever got that. A couple more years would have been too late. So yes, he books from that perspective and not from the who. I didn't know I wanted to see a ladder match for a mask until I saw those two wrestlers do it.
I was so like, because Andrade's a guy to me that got off to a slow start, trying to be something he wasn't, trying to recreate himself. But like when you see him, but see when you see him now, Collision, he's not doing all the extra stuff. He's just kind of doing what he does best. He has
not wearing the suit and acting like he's Black Mask from DC Comics. He's literally Andrade right now. And
he comes out there, he says a few words. He don't say too much, and then like I was just watching the match.
Boy backstage trying to
like he looks like $1 million. He stopped wearing those Beetlejuice pants. I was like, bro, I think these guys might be back, man. And I was like, yo, this is how you gonna start the show off? Like I had
the promo art had all the promo packages had them saying these are my colliders as they've been deemed.
All them old WWE guys. It works, man. And like I said, we're talking about what, year 4, 3, 4, 5, whatever it is. And it's like, yo, we're I think they're off to a good start. There's been a lot of missteps along the way. But I mean, what do you expect from a new company that has no previous record of anything? And I'll tell you another thing. Then we can move on. At least with AEW, you know who's in charge, right? Whether you agree with it or not, whether it makes sense or not, whether it's dumb, whether it's whatever the case may be, at least you know who's in charge. Like you look at TNA, you can tell who was in charge by the era that you watch. Like from, in early TNA, you didn't know who the heck was in charge, is because Vince Russo was running around calling the shots, right? And then there was a point in time where that kind of settled down, where it looked like an old territory, because then all of a sudden there was an NWA championship committee. So you had guys like Ricky Steamboat and Terry Taylor and Dusty Rhodes. This is before they all clearly WWE went and gobbled all those guys back up and brought them back in. But in them early that early years of TNA, when WWE was post Attitude Era, post Monday Night Wars era, like all those legends and stuff, Larry Zbyszko, they were all in TNA. They were on as they call them, the championship committee, right? And then eventually you had the Dixie Carter era, right? Where she had her mind she was going to be the female Vince McMahon, and then you had the Eric Bischoff and Hogan era, and it's just like, man. And then you had the freaking Billy Corgan era. It's just like you can tell which version of TNA or Impact you're watching based off who was in charge.
And the look, remember the looks,
and the look kept everybody wanted to put their imprint on it.
Yep, everybody had to have their stamp that you reminded. This is how I'm doing it my way.
And then it was who was the last one? The one that had the big bird and everything.
Scott D'Amore, not Scott D'Amore. Oh god, what's his name?
What was that company called?
The Owl Company.
That
does the belts. Oh my god, not Alliance. Come on, Dylan. What's the name of the company? Dylan's usually our Google company.
Look, I didn't even realize a brother Rogers in the group. What's up, Uncle Raj? I didn't know my man was in the building today. What's up, man?
I'm looking it up now. I can't think of the name of the company.
Yeah, but it was what the heck was their name? Endeavor Sports? No, it wasn't Endeavor. That's
Anthem.
Anthem. They Endeavor owns WWE, but Anthem. Yeah, it was like
I was like, I know that's why the Owls are on there.
Yeah, man, but I'm telling you, man, I never thought I would say this, but I was like, yo, there's still elements that are missing, but it's good enough for me to watch now. You know, remember one point I would say I would watch for like one thing. I would get to see, I would watch it for this thing and that thing, and that would be it. And I couldn't get through the whole show. I really was watching, like I went back to watch Dynamite from last week and for like 2 weeks in a row. And I was really like, yo, as a wrestling fan, I'm really enjoying this show. So once again, man, shouts out to AEW, man. As a matter of fact, I think no, and that's the biggest thing. I think AEW deserves a round of applause before SummerSlam. I'm curious, Brother Hugh. Do you have you turned the corner yet? We've been trying to convince Brother Hugh to give it a shot, and you know, Brother Hugh's very particular.
Watch Collision. Watch one episode of Collision, and you'll change your mind.
Hey man, I keep forgetting that it comes on Saturday, man. I'm usually busy.
It's definitely tough to watch on Saturdays. I'm not gonna lie. Like I thought it'd be cool. Like, oh, it'd be cool to have Saturday wrestling. Then I was like, oh, this is kind of hard to watch. I gotta go back and watch it on demand.
Yeah, man. I just don't have the time to catch it, you know.
But you notice something I realized about Collision why I think it's easier to watch? You know how on Dynamite they promote 746 days worth of stuff?
Yeah.
Collision don't really promote that much. They promote what's happening next week on Collision. It's not the whole, don't get on Wednesday do this, Friday do this, next Wednesday we're gonna have this, next Friday we're gonna have this Saturday is this, all up. It's not, I don't feel like it's a lot of advertisement. It's always what's happening next on Collision. Like they might mention Dynamite, it's not in your face.
Hey, I'm lost in the sauce. Did they get rid of Rampage?
No, that's still on Friday.
So that's still their Thunder.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, it's less than Thunder, actually.
You said what?
It's actually less than Thunder.
Well, you know, at least Thunder, at least Macho Man and Hogan used to make appearances.
Yeah.
They didn't wrestle, but you know, they was out there. So they might do the main event. One of the big dogs in the main event. But speaking of
you always had Booker T the main event.
Carried the show, bro.
Always.
Booker T, Fit Finlay, those guys, the mid card guys carried Thunder. It's Hogan.
There was that time to shine.
Yeah,
it's like literally Diamond Dallas Page or Macho Man or Hogan would just come out and cut a promo as the main event, and you would just go home.
Yep, go home happy or mad,
or like have a run in. You know, somebody got hit in the back of the head, and then ladies and gentlemen, we gotta go. Like that's it. I got dressed.
On Monday and see the follow up.
And then they show you the stills. They never showed you footage. They always showed you stills. But but speaking of it's this. I promise you, ladies and gentlemen, stick with us. But trust me, we're gonna get into SummerSlam. I promise you. I'm not gonna be away from. But listen, we gotta keep it 100, right? Mm-hmm. CM Punk recently has claimed to be the real AEW champion. He pulls it out of his bag. He spray paints an X on it. Brandon doesn't like CM Punk that much, so we don't have to really get into it. But I'm curious.
I'm not touching this NWO storyline, man.
Okay, listen. I figured you guys weren't, so that's why I'm just including it. But I got a belt question because you guys are the belt guys. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Are we going to have a problem with these two shows that are seemingly separate, where clearly CM Punk has to be on one show because he doesn't get along with the people that run the company, and it's like at the end of the day, CM Punk knows he's worth a lot of money. Simply because he's CM Punk and he is never. That's why he does whatever he wants to do. And he goes, listen, at the end of the day, this is a business. And Tony, you know that. I think he puts Tony Khan in an uncomfortable position because Tony's trying to put together this family atmosphere. Like we're a team. And CM Punk's like, we don't got to be a team. This is a business. And guess what? I'm making you money. You know, I'm making you money. So I know you're not going to get rid of me. I'm not doing anything wrong. I don't get along with the rest of the team, but we don't have to. It's because if you look at the numbers, we're making money. And Tony has to go, God dang it, he's right. Shoot. You know what I mean? And Dylan Mattis has look at this.
I said you said
yeah, look at that. So we'll see. Can he make us pull up on Dynamite? We'll see. I mean Collision. So so I think CM Punk does it, but it's are we? I know we're not looking directly at a brand split, but it's something that could potentially CM Punk wants to be the top guy on that show, and he has nothing to say or to show that he's that guy. So he's walking around with this AEW world title, saying I'm the real AEW world's champion, but he's never called out MJF. He's never put him out there. He's never called for a rematch. And he's never, there's never no tease of a potential unification to say who's going to be the undisputed. Are we going to find ourselves on a collision and AEW is going to have to introduce a new sort of world title, Brother Brandon, Brother Hugh? Is that a thing that's a possibility? Because now you got two guys walking around with AEW world champions, and CM Punk's got an X on his, and he's like, well, I want everybody to know that I'm the champion on this show.
Well, first thing, that takes me back to my comment that he's booking from a fan. How many times are we going to keep saying, like, in all wrestling companies, they recycle so many of
Big time
prior storylines, and this whole real world's champion, just stop it, because we know where that's coming from. And it was almost to the date that it happened. So wrestling fan knows when you start talking about the real world champion. Like, sir, you were stripped of the title. I don't care if you never lost it. How many times have we seen, oh, I'm the real champion because I never lost the belt? You got stripped of it. Vacant held that title, and then Vacant passed it on. So it went from CM Punk, Vacant, to Jon Moxley. Let's just call it what it is. Yeah. But what kills me is you had CM Punk cut this promo, and MJF was right there. But because MJF is entwined in this other storyline, we don't want them to commingle. But if it was me, I would have added the realism and had them walk past each other backstage and look at each other on the way to the ring. That's giving you in the mind that, oh, wow, both of the person that's claiming to be world champion is that. Or, better yet, when he revealed it, I would have had him do something to it more than just spray painting.
Yeah. Like kind of like who did that though? We saw somebody. Well, we saw Matt Hardy do it in Ring of Honor. Remember when he was beefing with Jay Briscoe at one point and he claimed to be world, and he literally put his face on it.
Yes, you get what I'm saying? Like even when if we're gonna do two world champions, which as much as I hate to say this, and I can't believe I'm about to say this, there's too many belts at AEW because you have AEW and ROH, and for
that's bad when a belt guy says there's too many belts.
Because that thing is so. They feel like they're just the wrestlers are just holding it. Like, case in point, Claudio, he's the ROH champion that's playing fiddle in a faction on a AEW show. He should be your face of ROH. He's your world champion.
I mean, he is. Ring of Honor is a part-time show.
Huh?
Yeah, I mean, yes, yeah, you're right. Keep going. I'm sorry.
He's devaluing his belt by putting him on the other show, keeping him in this faction. If anything, it should have been the Blackpool Combat Club should be featured on ROH if you're going to have him as your world champion. Let him drop it. But
yeah, kind of. I agree with that.
Third world champion, if you already have two, and now you're about to have a third one. Oh
yeah.
You get what I'm saying? You have two. You have your ROH, your AEW. If you're gonna make a collision champion, now it's gonna be a world champion, an AEW champion. Come on now.
Oh yeah, I didn't even think. I mean, so okay, so one more question for the bug. I like put you on the hot seat. This is fun. This is great. If they do decide to add another world champion, what do you call it on AEW? What do you call it on Collision? Because MJF, first of all, MJF, yeah, your scenario I think would have worked perfectly. But I'll be honest with you, I don't think MJF is even going to allow his character to be in a situation where he's going to walk past CM Punk holding that title and him not say something. You know what I mean? So okay, so say they got to figure something out. If they say okay, fine, CM Punk wants to be kind of the top guy on the show, what do we call it? So WWE recently came up, with the Universal Championship. That was the Universal Championship hadn't been used since Puerto Rico. That was the World Wrestling Council that Carlos Colon and his promotion had come up with. That was the last time we heard anybody do a Universal Championship. Same thing with the NXT North American Championship, and it had old vibes of the old United States NWA United States Championship, and have a classic, updated but classic look. You know what I mean? That's kind of, we haven't had a North American champion in a long time. We always been hearing about TV champions, and we have an international champion. So what would you have called AEW Collision's world championship title that CM Punk would lay claim to? So like in Ring of Honor a couple years ago, we had Jay Lethal, right? He even took the world off of TV title. Remember, he was saying, I'm the real champion. I'm the biggest champion in this company, which is probably his best run. It's because at one point, the way he was being booked, you couldn't tell who the world champion was because they both were booked as the top guy, which is a very unique time. It's our era of Ring of Honor that I always love. But at one point, Jay Lethal was carrying the television like, nah, this makes me the top guy in the company, not the Ring of Honor World Championship. So it's like, okay, at AEW, you have Collision, you have Dynamite. Clearly, your AEW World Champion has been primarily featured on Dynamite. CM Punk wants his claim to it. He's walking around with a title with an X on it. What would you call that World Championship for AEW? On the spot right now, belt guy, go.
To say, I would call MJF belt the AEW Championship. and then call CM Punk the world champion.
No, you can't do that because WWE has that, so it might confuse the fan base. You got,
but here's the thing. So think about this. Everybody knows what. Okay, so remember, Impact just did something very similar. It was the Impact champion and then the TNA World Heavyweight Champion.
No, that was stupid. Come on, see, this is exactly why I said that TNA World Champion once again was a secondary title by that point in time. It wasn't actually being defended.
That was Moose kept saying he was the real world champion. Remember, Moose kept saying he was the world champion.
Listen,
but no, in all seriousness, I would probably try to play on the fact that one is a world champion and one is the actual AEW champion, because you want, like, when we think about, like, when we talked about the women's title, how it was like Rhea Ripley had to be the world champion and the other one had to be the other champion, like the WWE.
Sure.
If he is the AEW champion, he gives him free reign to go to Dynamite and Rampage. The world champion will be exclusive to just Collision because he's the AEW. Just like I should never see the TNT champion on the TBS show. I should see the TBS.
Yeah, that makes no sense. Yeah,
on there because that would be exclusive to those two brands. For instance, if I saw the international champion on TBS, that makes sense. He should be there while the TNT champion is on TNT. So that way you have the two tiers like the Intercontinental and the US on separate brands.
Right.
So do the same thing with the secondary women's title. And the only way to switch it is a battle royals, or if you're going to do, I'm the number one contender, and then at the pay-per-view, I'll fight for that belt, and that's how you switch them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, a new champion get it, but if I was on TNT, then I could. If I was on Rampage, that's on TNT, right?
Yeah.
I would win the what you call it. Then I would go to TBS as a TBS champion. But I'm just saying, I think that Tony is about to do something interesting with this, because you got Ricky Starks ready to fight him for this, but you also have All In and All Out, which is a week apart. Why can't one be headlined by one and the other one be headlined by the other?
Look, man, that's a good question, and I think we're it's messy. I know there's a lot of politics that have played a part in AEW's infrastructure, and we're fans. That's not for us to get into, but we could at least say that despite what's going on, I think there's a great balance of what's available to the point where we can at least enjoy the product completely now. And hey, listen, if you're gonna have all those titles anyway, why not add another? I'm curious to see if they decide what they plan on doing. Where, like, hey, let's add another title. But
he got 3 second-tier belts just for the men.
He could if he had played it close enough to his chest, he really could have had the AEW International title be that title that he wanted to. But they did the All Atlantic, which I love, and then they eventually turned to International. But I'm like, that would have been perfect.
I got a theory about that. Can I just say something real quick about that? All Atlantic.
Sure.
I think that was supposed to have been his world title, because why is the women's title so similar to that? And remember, Tony Khan said that he had all these belt designs that he never came out with. And if you look how the women's title in the AEW International / All Atlantic, they fit that mode of the men and the women belt being the same, like the TNT and the TBS.
Right.
I really think that was supposed to be his championship, and he went with the actual world title because visually on TV, that would pop more than the international.
I agree with you. It makes a whole lot of sense. And can you believe we've been sitting here almost for an hour talking about AEW? Look at that.
AEW.
Look at that.
That's different.
But like I said, there's plenty of time for this conversation, and I think we'll definitely get into it because I like all these mid-card titles. They're some of my favorites, and it's time for me to start
looking. You mean the other belt?
The other belt. The other belt. It's time to start loading up on these titles. Like I need to start my mid-card collection title. Am I wrong for saying that I probably most of my titles that I'm probably going to start collecting like first, like before I get into it, are probably going to be like my favorite mid-card titles? Is that saying too much? Am I doing too much? Like, come on, I'm talking to the belt experts. You guys gotta consult me.
No, because that means that those wrestlers made you pay attention to it.
I like those titles, even not only that, but just the way they look. I'm a bigger fan of a lot of those championships, their designs and their aspects. And I've always been that way. Even with the Winged Eagle, when its prestige, I was always the Intercontinental Championship guy. right?
That belt is always
Like
popped more than
it
that
always
really
was.
be.
In WCW, I love the big gold, but I was always a United States Championship guy. You know what I mean? And then I was, I was a fan of the Cruiserweight Championship big time. I was a fan of the TV title, thanks to Booker T, big time. You know what I mean? Like I enjoyed those. Like, you know what I mean? I've been talking about big belts, but that's for my world titles. But I've always been a fan of those secondary titles. But this
Almost
is
like
not
the European too. The European was
European
something
too. It's
different too.
another one. So that was another
I love
freaking.
that.
It just
Yeah.
looked different.
Fire.
It just felt a lot. And that, do you mean that looks can be deceiving? Is that what you're saying?
Listen to me. I'm
Sounds
saying
about
looks
right.
could be deceiving, and especially having a guy like Shawn Michaels hold it first. I was like, ooh, see, it had a little prestige to it. It was important from the jump.
So what
But
I heard you say, the realness is that
Mhm.
when it comes to belts, looks can be deceiving.
What you heard me say, Brother Brandon, was that when it comes to belts, looks can be deceiving.
Okay, I just want to make sure of it.
Mhm.
But we are here to talk about SummerSlam. We're going to go home with this part right here. Gentlemen, SummerSlam 2023. We spent 2.5, 3 shows talking about SummerSlam and everything that has kind of led up to it. So it looks like we probably pretty much have a finalized match card. And I think our show is set. Now I'm gonna read the match card, and I want you guys to kind of let the world know is does this SummerSlam on paper match up with one last year's or just some of our most favorite SummerSlam moments? Are you expecting us to be as good as the ones we have enjoyed in the past and that we freaking talk about on the show every chance we get? So far as the match card is concerned, this is incorrect me if I'm wrong. We have Logan Paul versus Ricochet. We have Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes. Whoop, whoop. We have a SummerSlam Battle Royal, where we have some major dogs in it. We have Sheamus, LA Knight, Shinsuke Nakamura, Otis, Chad Gable, Tommaso Ciampa, who is doing a phenomenal job, by the way. We have an Intercontinental Championship match, Gunta versus Drew McIntyre. We have a Women's Championship match with Asuka versus Becky Lynch versus Charlotte Flair. It's going to be a banger. We have our World Heavyweight Championship with Seth Rollins, who will take on Finn Balor. I would say right now. Never mind, let me finish. And then we have the Undisputed Universal Championship, Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. Gentlemen, I'm going to be honest with you, and I'm going to say this little part before I let you guys do what you guys do best.
Mhm.
At least 4 of these matches is not going to have anything to do with wrestling. What are you talking about, realness? Okay, I'm glad you asked. I'm telling you right now.
I was going to wait for you to finish.
Listen to me.
I got another take for you.
Because as I'm reading it, I'm like, bro, that Undisputed Universal Championship is not gonna have anything to do with the belt. That's gonna be all drama, storyline, everything that comes with it. That World Heavyweight Championship between Finn and Seth Rollins is a reason Rhea Ripley's not on the card. Is a reason She's don't have a match. Is a reason freaking Dominic Mysterio didn't have a match. Is a reason that Damian Priest doesn't have a match. I don't know if they're gonna participate in the Battle Royal or not. But there's a reason all that stuff comes before that match. I'm telling you right now, that match is not going to have anything to do with that. It's going to be so much more going on. That's going to be the outcome of the match is not about who's going to win, who's the world champ. See, in the 60s, you watch Bruno Sammartino face off against an Ivan Putski to see who was going to win out of those two. You got one American, you got an Italian stallion, American Dream versus a foreign villain. It was really that simple back in the day. It was live good versus evil, right?
Mhm.
This we talking 2023. This match, I'm telling you, that has nothing to do with the World Heavyweight Championship. There's no way in the world. Same thing.
It kind of. I was going to say it kind of does though.
Come on now, brother. Here, break it
If
down.
if you take it back to the Universal title, I mean I know it's 2 different titles, but it all formulated from that beef right there, and that story is being told from that. That's the foundation.
Right, but listen to what you said though. From that beef though, it has nothing to do with that world title. Think about what Finn's been talking about. He has not been talking about winning that world championship and being a world champion, the top guy in the company. He's been talking about all the stuff. He is pissed. He said, "You took my career away. You took away what was the trajectory that you was on was supposed to be for me." And I'm like, man, Finn might be telling the truth because it's kind of what happened.
So it's more centered around, I guess, just him losing and getting himself injured.
And then you got his boy.
Yeah,
you got big Scott Hall on the side. It's like, yo, it's my time now. And they both fighting for the top spot because Finn's like, not only do I want to take you out, I still, like you said, I still want to be world champion. And Damian Priest is like, wait a minute, brother. I got the money in the bank briefcase. Come on now. We saw what happened. We saw what freaking happened in that match when Finn had a chance to hand that briefcase to Damian Priest and he hesitated. I said, man, you asking for trouble. You're asking like Seth Rollins has 9 lives. And I like the way they're doing it is because as tough as Seth Rollins is, they're still putting the Judgment Day over because when they're united front, think about it, they really can't be beaten, right? So you say, okay, cool. How do we keep those guys going without making them look like the bloodline? Because you can't just have 2 dominant factions. Well, you can, but you got to make it look different. They're a dominant faction when they're on the same page, man. So, like, what would cause them not to be a dominant faction anymore? Dissension amongst the ranks, and you have one guy that's like, "Yo, you been there, done there. I'm up and coming. I'm already old. Let me have my moment." And Finn's like, "Nah, bro, I ain't ready to give it up." You know what I mean? I'm seeing a lot of rock. I'm seeing a lot of rock and fruit vibes going on right now.
So now that's why he wins it then, right?
See, I don't know because this is what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm saying. I don't think that match is going to have anything to do with that title because I think this match is going to be the end of the Judgment Day at SummerSlam. I wouldn't even plan on saying that, but you know what? The Holy Spirit just told me to say it. Because I'm to think about it, bro. I'm looking at the match like I was literally we going down the match card. Like I didn't even mean to start right here, but I was like, bro, there's no way in the world. Let's see what Dylan has to say. It has nothing to do with this match. Like this is I'm telling you, bro. There's a reason that Judgment Day is not heavily featured. It's literally because they're all going to be front and center for what's about to go down. As far as first of all, they already had a hiccup. And Rhea had to settle it because she had to say, listen, we're not doing this out here. Put the microphones down. Let's discuss this backstage. And Finn's literally walking back saying, you lucky you did this because you better hope you're the one that can figure this out. Because, and guess what? Later that night, they were on the same page. Once again, a Judgment Day on the same page is a dominant Judgment Day, right? Man, there's two. Listen, there's two. What if Finn does win? What if Finn does win? And Damian Priest decides he want to cash this in. What if Damian Priest wins? Finn Balor wins, excuse me, and then Seth Rollins gets mad. Nah, brother, I'm coming right back to you. He gets mad, decides I ain't gonna like no chump. Curb stomps Finn Balor in the ring after he just won, and Damian Priest is just sitting there with the briefcase, like, oof. What's gonna happen on TV when we sit there as fans and we watch this grown man have to make a decision like, dang, Finn's down. Finn just won. Seth Rollins just got mad, beat him up. Dom got chased off somehow. It's nothing but him, space, and opportunity. Referee's like, what you want to do? Right? What's going to happen then?
So what if the reverse happens? Finn loses and he lashes out on Seth, and then Damian cashes in.
See, listen to me.
Finn stops. What if Finn stops him from cashing in, or Finn helps him and say, but I don't. I keep saying
what is the reason he loses?
But Payback is coming for a reason after SummerSlam, and all of these matches.
You keep saying
it's got to be a reason. And here's the thing about the SummerSlam card. I don't know if y'all realize this. Oftentimes when we watch these PLEs, pay-per-views, after we're like, dang, that was a good one. How do they top it? How do they top it?
Right.
Because we've had some very good. On paper, they look like they wasn't going to be good, but then when you saw it, you're like, whoa, how do you top that? So when you start looking at it too.
That's Triple H's specialty. He did that with NXT.
Yep. Mm-hmm. So now, if you think about it, like you said, these matches, we're more interested in the other stuff. And I don't even want to say the entertainment, just the other stuff more than the wrestling.
Fact.
Because truth be told, we all sitting here coming up with scenarios. It's only but so many scenarios, but Triple H is going to hit us with some dust. And it's going to be something crazy that we didn't even think about, like Dirty Dom going to be the special guest referee or something crazy, What if it's something, or, I hate to say it, or what if it's a whole different scenario? Because either way we look at it, I kind of feel like we want the title to change so Seth can go get healed up.
Yeah.
But we want to see the Judgment Day do some more. So it's working. We talked about the Judgment Day. We want to see him do more.
Or I don't know, man.
I want Finn to get that push. That's all I want. Finally.
But do you want Finn or do you want the Demon King? Do you want Finn or the Demon King? Because it's going to be more rewarding if he's the Demon King and he wins it. But if he wins it as the Demon King and then what you call try to cash in, remember I said the Demon King really isn't part of the Judgment Day. What if he looks at him like,
Right.
try it if you want to, and Damian backs down?
Man, I wasn't
So many ways to
prepared.
go, man.
I wasn't prepared for this, man. This is ridiculous. We ought to be ashamed of ourselves, man. Triple H should not be having this conversation right now. We're duped right now.
Because here's the crazy part: the
Uh-huh.
demon comes down by himself. He doesn't come with the Judgment Day.
That
When
is
he's
true.
appeared as the demon, he's by himself.
Yeah,
So he wins the match.
Judgment Day's going to show up at some point. Same with the
Mhm.
Usos. Same way the Usos do. When the Usos don't show up with Roman, you're like, wait a minute, they're going to show up.
So I'm like you. I'm interested in everything else but the wrestling. I know it's going to be a good match. I know it's on paper they're going to have a good match.
No, first of all, that's a guarantee. Like, you're going to get your money's worth. That's going to be and I think that's going to be a part of the draw of it all, is that they're going to put on such a crazy contest that it's not going to end the way I think any of us is probably expecting. And I think that's the part that's going to keep us there the whole time. Like, we know these preview shows used to be a lot easier. Now we're not this isn't as easy as it used to be. So what do you guys call it? We're just going to skip around. World Heavyweight Champion, who the heck wins? Seth Rollins or Finn Balor? Spill the beans.
I want to say, oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, go. You good?
I want to say Finn, but I feel like they're going to, because Triple H with these long title reigns, I think are hurting more than they're helping.
No, cut it out.
Because everybody can't have a long title reign, because then you back in the whole Vince McMahon thing that now it's like, okay, so when they finally lose, what's the deal?
No.
Like,
you think so? Here's what I'm saying. I don't see it the way. I think the long title reigns are like helping. The belt is finally doing what it's supposed to do, and that's establish a star. So like by the time they lose the strap, they'll be established what doesn't hurt them. Like when Drew lost, it didn't hurt him. When Bobby lost, it didn't hurt him. It's because they've kind of had these established title reigns, and it's like, and that's at the main event level, right? So then you take a step down to, I guess, I don't even want to call it mid card, but just a step down to the mid level titles. It's like, well, these long title reigns is kind of helping these guys become established as, no, this guy's legit because he was the champion for so long, but then he becomes so over that when he does lose it, specifically in the way that he loses it, it may not hurt him. He can move forward. You don't see it that way?
Yeah, I see it. You don't want a hot potato with it like they didn't have it to there. You know what I'm saying?
But you don't want to have it that nobody else has. Like, for instance, what is there to do for a mid carder right now? Because Austin Theory isn't defended.
Shoot,
he's not losing. So what else? I'm gonna be in a comedy stick. I'm gonna be like, right now, how much more entertaining? Go back to the Intercontinental title when it was those 6 people challenging for it. It wasn't necessarily hot potato, but you had challengers that were
legit contenders for it that could legit win that joint. You're right.
But now it's like Gunther, like he has legit challengers, and everybody feels like a threat.
It's only Drew.
Yeah, now it's like, oh, if Sheamus and Drew couldn't do it at WrestleMania, I don't think Drew's going to do it now, because you had 2 people that were credible threats to him at Mania that couldn't do it. So now it's like, I don't want to see the match is not going to be good, but it's like, okay, you want him to beat this record so bad that it's costing the chokehold on the Intercontinental title. That yes, a year from now, 2 years from now, we'll still be talking about his run, but Wesley, for example,
I was about to say that's the issue. Go ahead.
He had a great run, and then he lost to the Dom. And like I said, it took 3 people to beat him on Sunday. Yeah. But now, how do we keep his momentum going once he's dropped the title? Because if he still would have had it, he would have been putting out good matches.
I don't think you can, because I don't think Wesley has really even developed a character outside of being North American champion, which is the problem when you have guys that are just champions. It's like, okay, cool. When you don't have the championship, who are you now, right? So it's like, to your point, because we're just going to jump right into it. Well, that's what the heck we do. And the Continental Championship. It's like, to me, it almost seems like Gunther has to lose to Drew. You know what I mean? Because it's like you said, you have that dominant of a reign, and then it ends, or you keep going. First of all, who wants to follow that? It's right. Like you go from, like, the European Championship went from Shawn Michaels type guy to a Triple H type guy to eventually, like, Owen Hart. He was mid card guy, X-Pac mid. Before you know it started dropping all the way down to guys like D'Lo had it at one point, and then the Godfather, and then before, to the point, Kurt Angle, to the point where it got
Mark Henry got it. He was
Mark Henry. It got
D'Lo
merged.
Built it up. It made you put eyes on D'Lo, but then when Mark Henry had it started being hot potato, he like, okay, then it became Kurt Angle, Jericho, Eddie Guerrero. It was like We want to see him on TV. Give him the belt because that's the match that we need to put on TV.
Yeah, and it's like then when the title gets lost in the sauce or somebody else has it that's not as credible, it's like it almost loses its luster. So it's like, what's the point of you having that like it makes no sense for you to go Gunther wins, has an Intercontinental Championship for 5,000 days, and then it goes to like someone on Austin Theory's type level where it's like, yo, if when Wesley lost to Dom, it made sense. It's because Dom is hot right now. You know what I mean? That's what you want for your champion to be able to do. So he lost it to somebody important. He ain't just losing to like I don't know,
Grayson Waller.
Grayson Waller was like, he's cool, but it's like okay, so you had that. Yeah, it's like, okay, cool. What difference does it make? It doesn't make you look that much of a big deal, and it doesn't make me care about that title that much more. You look at Adam Cole and you had Ricochet, those guys that battled out when they first introduced that championship. You know what I mean?
Oh, like we talked about on Championship Culture?
That you talked about on Championship Culture. YouTube.com/The Wrestling Realm playlist Championship Culture, right? Like you got to have those establishing guys make a difference. So it's like, man, you got Drew and you got Gunther. If he doesn't lose to Drew right now, who the heck is he going to lose to at this point? That's credible.
Because he smashed a Honky Tonk record. No, he smashed Honky Tonk already, right?
No, he smashed who did he pass up? He passed up Macho.
Yeah,
right,
Macho.
but you wanted to pass off. So let me ask this question. I know we went off a little tangent.
Mm-hmm.
When he passes Honky Tonk's record, what does that do?
It gets Honky Tonk out the record books.
Right.
But seriously, think about it. What does it? It puts his name. Is he not going to be in the same conversation as one of the greatest Intercontinental champions, whether he passed the record or not?
I see. Here's a thing, though.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna tell you why he has to. Now you put it that way. This is your fault because I wasn't even thinking about that. I'm gonna tell you why he has to do that. It's because guess what? The kids that come after us, that comes after this generation, may not remember what Gunther did. Think about all the champions that did damage that get respected now, that get disrespected because people just don't remember. They're like, oh, I don't remember him being that good. Or I don't remember. Like no one sit there says, who's somebody that should be in the conversation of something major, but people, because they don't remember just generation, they get lost. Like I'll say this: anything WCW Monday Nitro-ish, these kids are like, oh, it wasn't that good. It's like, what do you mean? It's because the generation that watched it is getting older. They're out the community now, so their voices aren't as loud. So when you compare what somebody has done now to a WCW, it's like the kids that compare LeBron James and Michael Jordan. Of course, you want to say LeBron James is shit because that's all you know. You grew up on that. Yeah, you know of MJ. But you didn't experience it, so you don't know the magnitude of it.
Yes.
Right. So sit there, you say, oh, I remember the Gunther. He was pretty tough. I've seen clips of him, but it's no big deal. But then if you got something attached to it, it's like, oh no, this dude's legit. I told you I got a freaking 9-year-old that's a huge Goldberg fan. Why? You wasn't even thought of during that era. But he's got this streak though, and because of the streak, his playlist is still on YouTube. It's still on the network. His stuff is still highlighted. Goldberg couldn't wrestle worth a goddamn, but because he had all those streaks, he had all those titles, he had all that stuff that was attached to it, he got a bigger rap for it. You know what I mean? So it's like, does Gunther need the same thing, or does it matter? Will he still be remembered as one of the greatest intercontinental champions of all time? I mean, he has to now because he clearly broke Macho Man's record. But think about.
But I'm gonna put a wrinkle in it for you, and I'm gonna rest on this, so we can move on to SummerSlam.
Mm-hmm. This is SummerSlam. That's the match.
I'm saying no. We can move on. I'm gonna say this about titles. Randy Orton has held a world title 14 times, right?
Yes, indeed.
14. Right?
God dang it,
Undertaker has held a world title 7 times. You mean to tell me, Randy? And these are both. Let's just call them legends at this point, right? Because if Randy Orton doesn't come back, he's done enough to have a Hall of Fame career. Will we agree?
Easy, without even thinking about it.
Are they not in the same conversation? Even though Randy has had 7 more world title reigns than Undertaker.
Oof. Are they
even not? Though Undertaker? Now think about it. Undertaker's had matches, probably more memorable matches than Randy. But I'm just saying, title-wise, I'm just saying the world title. Undertaker has only had 7. Randy has had 14. Are they not in the same conversation that you're going to say Randy title reigns mean more? Because remember, in one night, Randy had a title reign that only lasted one night.
I'm going to tell you why no. It's because the character of The Undertaker has done way more than to be compared to a title reign. Think about it. He's probably the only person.
And that's my point. See what I'm saying?
I mean, it makes sense though, because he's the only person that. Think about it. Undertaker is the only person that I can remember that we have never discussed title reigns. Like you never hear a conversation about him because it's
That
like
is true.
think about it. He's done so much as the Undertaker that stood out. You never even compare his title reigns or even
You won't
bring them
compare
up.
him and John Cena's title reign. You won't say
You won't even
former
look at
world
it.
champion. He's just the other. So when it comes to Gunther, and I'm just saying for these title reigns, period, we can establish these stars whether they have one title reign because Drew only had the WWE title twice, but we know he's a mega star that they can put anything on his back, he's going to run with it. You know what I mean? But then in the same breath, when you look at Christian's had 6 world title reigns across all the companies. Is it 6? I think it's 6, right? And
so.
That sounds about right.
If Christian hangs up his boots tomorrow, he'll still be in the conversation as one of the best wrestlers because of the work that he's done. And he's the only person to be on all 3 shows in 1 year. So, I mean,
you can't argue that.
Differently to establish himself. So that's why I'm like, Triple H, I think Bianca Belair being the longest women's champion in modern history. Why put that in modern history? Let's just know that she's a great women's champion. And she's done things for the women division that put eyes on it and keep positioning her that way, that we're going to keep saying that. Just like when we say Bayley is the woman of the first, Charlotte is a woman of first. Charlotte don't need those 14 or 17 title reigns because let's call it what it is. She's in the same conversation as these great women like Becky Lynch. Whether Becky Lynch got 4 or 8 title reigns, it's still the titles. I feel like it's holding it on the person is taking too much away from the wrestler.
I don't know, man. It's. I see what you're saying,
tough.
brother.
That's tough.
But
yeah,
I think
too,
I just think it depends on the wrestler. Like some talent, like Bianca, when she lost, I don't look at her any differently than that if she's lost. It's because
I look at her like I want to still see her. I want to see her match.
Because in her case, her long title reign established her as a top guy. So like now you don't need it. So like when you're featured, and think about it, she's in the main event for the women. Like her, Oscar and Charlotte, gonna burn the goddamn house down. But
that's cool. I
was more for marketing purposes.
With that or the world title, which one do you think they're gonna kick it off with?
I don't know. See, that's because we still got to talk about Logan Paul and Ricochet. That's a good question though. But we're real quick before we're gonna jump into the women's championship match right after. We just see how we just naturally flowing. Gunther, Drew McIntyre, brother. Who wins?
Gunther. He's gonna win it.
What about you, brother Brandon?
Gunther. Because if Drew couldn't do it at WrestleMania, he ain't doing it now.
I don't see Drew not winning after that momentum. The rumors he's back. I'm like, bro, I think they're ready to move Gunther on to the next chapter. But then again, I don't know. I can't. I'm
thinking we get some kind of a disqualification though.
Do you think
I don't see Drew losing either though. Like you know what I'm saying? Like
winning by disqualification.
Yeah. So he might win it by disqualification or something like that.
What would be satisfying? Like what would suffice? Like what would be satisfactory way in a situation where you say, okay, well, Drew wins, but he doesn't. I guess you do a rubber match at Payback.
You have to, yeah.
He can't keep taking losses fresh off signing a new contract. Something's up, bro.
But at the same time, he can't really lose. He can't really win now because of Gunther, and you know they're pushing for that record. That's
Are they really
thing for them right now? I believe they're too close now, man. They're too close. I see if he was like a year away. Nah, he's literally a month away. So you might as well just let him break it. And it's the honky tonk.
Shoot.
And it's the honky tonk man. Let's be real.
Yeah, like, I don't know why he had to bite for as long as he did. No disrespect to honky tonk man.
Yeah, come on, man.
It was the era. Think about it. It was the era. That's why.
It definitely was.
It was.
It was the era. It was needed at the time.
Sure. And also, you got to remember the lineage of the title was, I don't say it was fresh, but it was still, you know what I mean?
Still trying to establish what it was.
Yeah. So what with that being said, because think about it. We're taking too long talking about this IC title, but this is why we try to do a show with belt guys. This is what you get for trying to do a show with belt guys. Here's the problem with that conversation, and I was just done, but I'm like, that's why we talk about freaking honky tonk right now, though, brother Brandon. It's because he had that long title reign. Who else talks about anything a honky tonk man outside of that long title reign? Let's be real.
But that's what I'm saying. That's it. Like, are we going to be talking about Austin Theory as the youngest United States champion?
But think about it,
it's just going to be a notch in the record books. But what did he really, like you just said, what did he really do with it?
Right. Think about it. But we're still having this conversation about him 30, 40 years later because of the freaking record.
Yeah.
We're not saying, yo, I remember Honky Tonk dance like Elvis on the outside, and they're like we could talk about that by the Undertaker and his thousands of moments, any other wrestler, but it's like, but his legend is that IC title. But we gotta move on. Let's show the women some respect. Asuka, Bianca Belair, Charlotte Flair. Are they going to be sprinklers in the stadium? So just in case when they burn it down, they have access to making sure that the fire can be put out in a quick and timely manner. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, this is a dream match for me, buddy. First of all, Asuka and Charlotte Flair do no wrong in my eyes, and then you got Bianca that she's like on their level now. I'm trying to figure out who's going to follow that show in the first place, because I wouldn't want to follow them. I want to be able to ask them to hold back, because you got to be kidding me. First of all, the dynamic between all three. Then you have the Queen that's back in the mix, and then you have the previous champion. Then you have Asuka. There's no new faces in this match if you pay close attention to this. So you know what that means, right? That means they're going to slug it out. Like Asuka, once you get it, like you said, she paid her dues. She paid her dues. She got to her space where she was like, okay, she did her time. Everybody's like, what's going on with her? And then she's champion again, right? Like, she's champion again, and she's established as a champion. What are you doing? He's in tripping.
Hey, what's up?
He's established. He's established as a champion again, right? So it's like, wait a minute now. They're not trying to make no new stars. There's not no new faces in this one. I'm like, oh shoot, they're going to tear the house down.
For no reason.
For no,
just because, right?
For no reason, because that title, women's title, is going to be that much more important. I can sit there and talk about Asuka, Charlotte, and Bianca all night, but we're short on time. So, gentlemen, does Asuka retain, or do we have a new WWE women's champion?
I feel like Asuka retains.
I think she does too.
I feel like Charlotte. Well, of course, you know what everybody's going to say if Charlotte wins. She comes back, she wins it again, this and that, whatever. Bianca, she just had that long reign. She doesn't really need it, honestly. She's already established.
I don't think she's focused. Think about it. I don't think Charlotte or think about the exchanges that they're all having right now. Asuka keeps getting the upper hand on every last one of them.
Right.
Think about it. And she like trolls them and taunts them, like, and that's very, very Asuka-ish. Oh shoot, Dylan. That's why nobody was talking to you, Dylan. Good. Look at this. Look what he said.
That's
Dylan,
what I was saying.
Exactly.
Dylan,
I think that's the only,
I wouldn't even think about that.
That's it.
Once again,
don't hate me when I say this, Hugh. But the only way Charlotte wins is to be the victim of the cash-in.
Yeah.
What if you think
that's the only way to transit? She's been so many transitional champions for that. Think about it. She's been cashed in the most.
What if does EO cash in and make this a fatal 4-way?
No,
I would love that.
I want Asuka EO straight up 1-on-1.
No,
that's what I want.
I want Asuka EO, but I want EO and Charlotte more because of what they did at NXT when EO won her first world title. I feel like even though it was a triple threat with Rhea, I feel like it was some story that could be told with them two.
But I feel like the story that's being told now, like it's going to end up being Charlotte versus Bianca down the road.
And see, Drew gets it. That's how she got them 14 titles, because she was. Think about it. Carmella cashed in on her with the Iconics. Jumped her. Bailey cashed in on her. Didn't somebody else cash in on her recently? Somebody else. Something happened. I think it's been 3 times, right?
I can't even. I don't remember. We watch too much goddamn wrestling. I can't keep up with half the stuff. Yeah, I think we have a problem on our hands. It's because on one hand, that does make sense, but it's like, man, Dylan said that Charlotte is the only one that EST hasn't toppled. That's a Mania match. You know, he was telling that to Drew, and I was like, man, because Drew Wilhelm, this was let's not leave that. He said it should be Bianca versus Flair straight up, and I think eventually we probably do get that, but I think we get the feud starting here, right?
But can we get that at Payback without the title?
I think but see, that's the whole point though. I think that starts the new chapter from Payback to Mania. Like, think about it. Bianca and Charlotte are very, very similar. They're both dominant women's champions. And it's like when you see a feud between those two, they can carry that. Charlotte is ridiculous. Yes, Bianca is on that level now. that's a feud you can carry all the way from now to WrestleMania if you wanted to, and then end it there for whatever reason. You know what I mean?
Right.
And and then you get EO versus Oscar at some point. You know what I mean? And it's like that's how you can separate the two. Where it's like I was telling you, brother, I don't think that I think Bianca's way too focused on Charlotte. She's so upset about stuff not going her way. And she's so wrapped up in the fact that Charlotte's in her way. And Charlotte's like, okay, well, who do you think you are? Like, they're typically so focused on trolling each other. Once again, they're not focused on what matters.
That's going to cost them the match. Yeah.
We still got Friday. Like, this is our girl home show. They still got SmackDown. I'm like, man, somebody's going to lose focus about this whole thing. But I think this may jumpstart, I think, some of the greatest women's feuds that we have yet to see as far as these matchups here in WWE. And it's like I say, I
can't wait for that, man.
I'm looking forward to that, man. They like and Charlotte.
Can I ask one question? Do y'all miss Kyrie Sane now still? Because imagine if we had Kyrie at this time. I'm just all I'm gonna say.
Oh my gosh.
Them 3 women.
Whew, man.
Stardom will be saying, "You're welcome. You're welcome."
Bro, I got chills thinking about it. I was just like, man,
all 3 of them.
You add her to the fold. I mean, that's almost like the 4 horsemen all over again. You know what I mean? It's like a next generation of it. You know what I mean? Like, everybody was when you wanted a good match, you knew what 4 women to go to. It was always Bayley. It was always Mercedes. It was always freaking Charlotte. It was always Becky Lynch. You know what I mean? And Oscar was right there on the outside because she was a vet coming in. Like, don't get it twisted. Yeah, I mean, she was always there too.
Down for NXT.
I'm telling you,
they gave her the Shinsuke treatment. Think about it. They gave her the Shinsuke treatment. We got to tone you down a little bit.
I wonder if this match is going to be toned down because them 3 in the ring is the main event match. That's a WrestleMania main event. Oscar for Charlotte versus Bianca. That's something you're doing. That's something you do in WWE 2K. But guess what? We're getting it at SummerSlam, so I'm looking forward to that part, man. But a few more matches we got to kind of discuss, man. Let's stay with the ladies. Ronda Rousey versus Shayna Baszler. It doesn't look like we're getting any type of mixed martial arts themed type thing like we kind of want. I know we've been calling for the Lions Den match. We've been calling for the what's the thing that Seth Rollins and Riddle did fight pit match, But I think they've done an excellent job with Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, and the build up to it is because it has a very believable story to it. You know what I mean? So Shayna Baszler's talking about, listen, I was there for her at every training camp, everything I did, but she wasn't there for me. You know what I mean? And I'm tired of playing second fiddle like our whole careers. I'm like, man, this is good because I think this gives Shayna Baszler the rub that she needs. My concern is, where do you go after that? You know what I mean?
They got to continue this feud, man.
I don't know how long they ride this out. Let's put it this way. So what you're saying, Brother Hugh, is because I think I can get down with this is just the beginning.
Yes,
because
they're at least going to go through payback. At least
you gotta get the rubber match, right?
Yeah, they at least got to. I mean, it's the storyline. It tells itself. Mm-hmm. And for as deep as the storyline as it is, it's like it doesn't make sense for them to just have that one match and it's like, oh, it's over with. No. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's more story to tell with this storyline. So
I agree.
Gotta drag it along.
You kind of right, though, brother. Because usually SummerSlam is where you end stuff. This is supposed to be like a payoff, but I'm like, they just started this though.
They just started, yeah.
But see, I'm gonna change my vote because I think that it finished the story as a Survivor Series. Because if we're gonna do War Games and Survivor Series, who's to say we can't do like a fight pit or a MMA match at Survivor Series?
That's what I'm saying. It's got to lead to a gimmick match.
It got to be a thing because I think that Ronda beats her now. Shayna gets her payback. See what I did there? And then they have a submission match or something at Survivor Series because I think Shayna Baszler is trying to go back to that magician submission, the Queen of Spades gimmick type thing because her promo is back to what it was at NXT. Like that last vignette that they did. Yeah. That's the stuff that made Shayna special in NXT.
Yeah. She was feared. Like, but then where do you go? There's only but so many titles to go after a while. You know what I mean?
No, because after this, then it'll be freed up for her to go because they're on Raw, right?
No, SmackDown. SmackDown, aren't they?
No, they're on Raw. And think about
okay.
this.
I'm tripping.
You finish this at Survivor Series.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be crazy for her to win the Royal Rumble, or would it be crazy for her to pick a fight with Rhea?
Either way is
Because
believable.
who did
Shayna
she give
Baszler
the
is
title
nuts.
to? Remember, Rhea took the title from her in NXT. Triple H should always run that feud back.
Yeah, he does right. Yeah.
I mean, Rhea's kind of hot though. Is that a trigger that you pull? You know what? That could potentially happen because I feel like Triple H is like giving all loyalty runs to all his NXT people. Like, you never got a shot. We're gonna make sure you get your chance again.
I feel like
who would want to see Rhea versus Shayna at Mania? Who would want to see?
I think Shayna needs it. I think she deserves it. Like, she's older, but she has done like it's not that hard to book. Like, she's mean, she's a bully, she's vicious. Like, you know what I mean?
I feel like she's gonna get a men's title soon.
I mean, she's the way she be looking.
I'm serious.
It wouldn't be like unbelievable.
I feel like it's gonna happen soon.
It wouldn't be like I could see her walking around with the freaking North American Championship. Like, how did you get that? I got mad. Like, I can see her beat somebody up. Says I beat him up and I pinned him and I took his belt. They're like, well, it wasn't sanctioned. I don't care. It's mine. Somebody come take it from me.
Right.
What you gonna do?
You got it.
I mean, so here we go. Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler.
And it's a shame that Sonya Deville has moved away from her MMA gimmick so much.
No, it's not, because that reminds me. I was going to say something. I think they may go down as probably the best women's tag team champions.
And that was an accident. I mean, I'm glad that Carmella is doing good now. Who would have thought? I would still want to see Chelsea Green and her as a tag team, but I like this Sonya Deville together.
They work so well together. Yep. And Chelsea Green is
just awesome.
She is amazing. Like, she's somebody that I told you. I told you when I noticed her. I always heard about it because, like I said, because I followed the major boys, the major wrestling figure podcast, and Chelsea Green has always been a part of their thing. And when she got released, I saw her in Impact, and I don't know if it was Mickie James in the ring or somebody was talking about women's, and it was like a little women's, like not a gauntlet, but it was like a what do you call those things where the people on the outside in the there was a lumberjill situation, and she kind of stepped in the ring like, excuse me, and she just kind of was being rude and interruptive, and I was like, oh, I didn't know she had all that personality, because they were kind of booking her as like this. I don't know what they were doing. They put her on Robert Stone, and they were doing something.
They don't know what to do with the women, so just make her pretty face.
And she was like, she had just debuted on the roster before she broke her arm, and then she broke her arm. They released her over the pandemic, and I was like, I didn't realize she had that much personality. So the fact that they're entertaining. Like, they're not just booked as the women's tag champions because they're just women's tag champions. Like, I look forward to seeing them each week is because of Chelsea Green. When she said, she's like, 3 strikes you're out, basketball. And I was like, what in the world, bro?
That was funny.
And I was like, yo. And that's what I'm saying. Like, she is good. She is really, really good. And Sonya Deville is like, went from being like kind of a serious, hard-nosed character to kind of like, look, I didn't mean for this to happen. Once again, did we talk about tag teams on the show? Is that something we discussed privately?
We haven't done it recently. No.
Okay, so we know we talked about the different types of tag teams, right? Mm-hmm. And look, Dylan said nobody will beat the Iconics. Look at that. The greatest women tag teams of all time.
Well, that's because he probably saw them in the Independent Days.
I'm sure. Good job, brother Dylan.
Did you, Dylan?
What federation
did they wrestle for down there?
Of course he would say that. Of course. Two beautiful women, absolutely. Shout out to Sean Spears.
They weren't very entertaining.
They were very entertaining. But it's like when you look at Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville, they fill out the odd couple. It's that tag team. Like, okay, cool. There's the tag guys. They're like, we're matching gear. We grew up together. He said no clue about comes for WWE. I don't think anybody did, because I don't think there were really wrestlers like that. Well, Jesse was. But anyway, so yeah, it's like she kind of, the fact that they are able to play the odd couple and did actually work. We're kind of seeing with MJF and Adam Cole. Like, I know you all saw that dance contest they had, and I was like, what is Adam Cole out there doing for real?
Stop playing.
Looking like Daniel Garcia. You see when freaking Daniel Garcia does his little Disco Inferno gimmick. It's hilarious. But
I'm so sick of him dancing because he's doing it over the top now.
It is hilarious. It looks like Disco Inferno.
But he looked like never mind. Continue.
But anyways, I just want to show the women love, because I know we got Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, but listen, the women's tag team champions, they're must see TV every week, and
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
that's what your champions need. This is why I'm not doing a show with y'all no more, because we keep talking about these championships, for goodness sake. Like, how do we keep going back to championships, bro? Like, I'm really sat there and I'm talking. I'm like, bro, we still talk about these champions again, because I'm like, look,
Back to SummerSlam, right?
this is
Right.
we sit there talking about Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, and then all of a sudden I'm like, see, this is exactly what the championships need. I'm like, wait a minute. Anyways, I swear, man, fool around belt guys. Where's Brownies when you need them? But did we Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler?
He's probably lifting weights somewhere.
It's got to be. It's a check there.
Yeah, right.
Got to stay checked. But Ronda Rousey, just like Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, because they're both pretty jacked for women. So, which one are you guys choosing? Ronda Rousey, Shayna Baszler, Brother Hugh, on the spot.
I'm going with Shayna, just for the simple fact that I believe that Ronda, she's trying to put this women's division over.
She is
as much as possible, and it's like I feel like she's going to give Shayna that rub, and of course, like Brandon said, you have payback. So of course, she'll come back and pay back and get hers. But put her on the big stage right now, let her get over, and then you just continue to feud from there.
Brother Brandon, do you agree?
Ronda wins only by disqualification because Shayna won't release a hold.
Ooh, there you go. Doesn't he complicate things? He does it on purpose, bro. I was about to be like, that's right, Brother Hugh, I'm with you. We're gonna say it. Then I'm like, oh shoot.
Yeah, and that's the only way I'll see Ronda winning, because never mind. Shayna, if she's Queen of Spades, Shayna, that's Ronda's in trouble.
Listen, all I know is we've seen a lot of people revert back to their NXT personas, man, on the main roster, man. Shout out to Triple H.
Give us Pete Dunne. We got everything.
That's all I need.
Butch got over, man.
We got everything with that name. I don't know why it's that name, but back to you. Who you got? Ronda or Shayna?
I definitely got Shayna Baszler probably pulling this one out. Ronda Rousey's good, and first of all, she's such a villain. Like she knows what to say. Like I'm trying to watch my language. Like she knows what to say to get under people's skin. But I think Shayna Baszler has a legit bone to pick with her. But you know, you never know. Same thing. Shayna Baszler could lose focus. She could be so wrapped up in revenge that she loses focus. Who said that recently when they were like, you know what? Matter of fact, Logan Paul said that. He said, you guys are so concerned about trying to prove a point to me, the outsider, that you guys weren't focused on winning the Money in the Bank briefcase. So we all lost. And I'm like, well, he might have a point. So I think if Shayna were to lose, it's because she lost focus. Because like Ronda Rousey said, like, you've never been in this spot before. What are you talking about? You don't know what to do when you get here. And I was like, oh, that's not nice.
She did say that.
You know what I mean? So it's like I don't know, but I think Shayna Baszler pulls this off. I think she needs it. But yeah. How about moving on though? Let's go to the highlight of the night. This is supposed to be the showcase match, I'll say. Logan Paul versus Ricochet. Shout out to Ricochet once again, getting another NXT guy finally getting his run. You know what I mean? This is going to be one of the biggest matches in SummerSlam history, just because of the star power of Logan Paul, and Logan Paul is bought into Ricochet, which is a good thing. It's because Logan Paul's following is bigger than WWE's completely. You know what I mean? And to have him decide, I want to work with this guy Ricochet because of the stuff we pulled off, the chemistry, and I feel like Logan Paul feels like he can trust Ricochet because Ricochet has already made him look good, right? And Dylan says that Ricochet needs this win, but I'm not so sure. It's because Ricochet has not really been historically a huge winner, but he has yet to. He's gotten over. He's gotten in people's hearts, and sometimes losing can lead you to winning. You know what I mean? You may have lost the match, but you've earned the hearts of people. We watched it happen with Mick Foley. Mick Foley got screwed over so many times that people began to love him and love him and love him even more. And Logan Paul hasn't really. When's the last time Logan Paul won a match? We talk about a big money guy.
He won one match.
Last year, SummerSlam, wasn't
he doesn't need to win. He doesn't need to win.
So who does?
He does, because the last time he won was at SummerSlam last year, right?
He doesn't need to win, bro. He's too big. Like Dwayne said, he's too big. You know,
all right, so I'm a big mega star. I keep coming back and keep losing.
Hey, bro.
But it doesn't make a difference though, brother Brandon. He's still Logan Paul at the end of the day. That's the thing. He's bigger. He's bigger than WWE. Like let's call it.
All right, so I'm Logan Paul.
Okay.
I challenged the Tribal Chief. I lost.
Everybody
I challenged Seth Rollins. I lost.
Okay.
I'm gonna challenge Ricochet and I lose again. Why am I even here? like no discredit to Ricochet at all. But I'm saying Ricochet is not on the same level as a loss from the Tribal Chief or Seth Rollins. Let's call it what it is. He lost to the Miz. Well, no, he beat the Miz.
He beat the Miz, yeah.
Beat the Miz.
Right. So he needs to beat Ricochet to keep his momentum because he keeps talking about you just trying to do this so you can go viral. He's going to do something crazy. He's probably going to do a shooting star 450 splash and a Falcon Arrow off the top of the SummerSlam Titantron and record it while he's doing it. I mean, that's what we expect.
Can I ask you a question? What if Brother Hugh's right though? What if he's there to give Ricochet a rub? What if he's the one? What if he's the one doing the favors? Because he's kind of the established star without having to be an in-ring guy. But he comes into it like, hey, I'm here to help the product because and I don't mean to break kayfabe, but I remember on the show he said, man, listen, I love the fact that we can be partners. He was talking to Triple H. He said, let's make this thing the biggest we can make it. And it's like part of that process and something that he understands more than anybody, especially as an outsider, is creating new talent, creating new stars. Like Ricochet is challenging Logan Paul. Logan Paul said, bro, you trying to make a name for yourself off me. And it's like, well, shoot, he's kind of like the veteran in the matches because he's the one. Ricochet is going to be, if Logan Paul wins, it's going to go viral. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a big deal. And he's going to be the man. Cool. But if Ricochet wins, man, this might put him, you know what I mean? It may put him in a more solidified space because Logan Paul could disappear and come back and still do whatever he want to do. But if Ricochet loses, I don't know. Because if he loses, it's not going to make a difference either.
Yeah.
Because
so, I
Ricochet,
feel like, go ahead.
Think about it. Because and I'll say this before you go, Brother Hughes. Ricochet could lose on Saturday, but then have a match on Monday and win, and then everybody be okay with it again.
And that's what I'm saying. Like but Logan Paul loses and he comes back the next time. He's already getting booed. Okay, cool. We let him lean into that heel side. But my thing is like, what do you do with him? So let's say scenario, Logan Paul wins. We don't see him again to what? Survivor Series, Royal Rumble?
Probably most likely the Rumble. Yeah.
Yeah, when he wins, we still don't see him. He loses, we still don't see him. So either way, but how many times can this, like if Bad Bunny did not win his matches,
yeah,
will we be excited when we saw him again?
Yeah.
And I know Bad Bunny is comparing different people, but I want to see Bad Bunny come back because I'm interested in what he's going to do next. Because his dance partner was great, the match was great.
Yeah.
And he won. But even so, if he would have lost, I'm like, oh damn, of course you lost it. But because you beat Damian Priest, who we know what he's done, it's like, okay, he beat an established star.
Mm-hmm.
And Damian Priest came out better for it. Ricochet can come out better with this loss.
Shoot.
I just feel like Logan, he's there to go viral. That's it.
Yeah,
like I said, he's bigger than the WWE.
He's not trying to win. Does he need to win matches? You might got a point, Brother Hugh. I don't know, Brother Brandon.
He need to win. He bring out his little phone. He do that one little highlight spot that he always does with Ricochet because you know they're gonna do something crazy.
I don't like talking to you guys anymore.
And give Ricochet the rub.
I'm telling you.
Plus, he made it personal when he said something about
he definitely made it personal.
You don't go that far, bro.
No. He did on purpose.
I'm telling you, 450 splash into a Falcon's Arrow off the top of the stage of the SummerSlam side.
Yeah, it's gonna be something crazy. Sure.
I don't like talking to you guys because every time I'm once again, y'all it never fails, bro. I'll be like, okay, cool, brother, you got a point. I'm gonna go with that.
480. No, what's the 560? What's the thing that he does? He don't do a 480. What's the thing that he does? Is an extra rotation, Ricochet?
Is it a 720 or 450? I don't know.
All right, it's going to be a Spanish fly to a 720. Ricochet's
going
to flip all the way down the ramp and pin him in the ring.
So let's get it on the record. Brandon, what do you got? Ricochet or Logan Paul?
Logan Paul.
Brother Hugh.
I had Ricochet.
Man, I don't know, man. I don't see Logan Paul losing this match, but I don't know, man. I don't want to answer. I don't know. That's tough. I'm going to say, has Ricochet won anything like recently at like a SummerSlam or anything? He's never had a big match, right?
No.
Because here's the problem. Because at the end of the day, to Drew's point, okay, so Logan Paul wins, he beats him, he talks his trash, and then what? He goes away for a little while, he goes back to his life. Ricochet's got to show up on Monday the next day and wrestle again. And it's like, yeah, I'm going Ricochet. I think Ricochet bit. I think Logan Paul is going to go on an absolute crazy losing streak and then like have a he's paying his dues. So let's just look at it like that. So I'm going to say Ricochet.
To be honest, I'm Team Sam.
I think we all are Team Sam.
I'm going with Logan Paul on this one.
Brother Brandon going against the grain. I'm okay with that, but I think, yeah, I don't know. That's going to be tough. I definitely think Ricochet is going to pull this one out because I think it's going to. He's the modern day superhero. Think about it. He's the guy that's doing all the flips and stuff. There's nobody doing flips and stuff like that. So,
okay, Drew.
But anyway, let's move on.
Don't talk that gum stuff, Drew. Come on, man.
Oh, we got two more matches to get into. The Beast Brock Lesnar versus the Nightmare Cody Rhodes.
Oh boy.
Oh God, they're gonna kill each other. I don't know, man.
And we still haven't figured out why they're fighting.
Right.
Bro. No, we did figure out. Brock Lesnar gave an explanation, didn't he? It was a very
Not
Brock
really,
Lesnar.
did it?
It was a very Brock Lesnar
He
explanation.
said, I am a former UFC champion. I'm a former. I was like, why is he reading this scripted promo? I said, he's doing this on purpose. That was a work.
He definitely did.
The whole WWE creative.
He did.
Because I don't think they even understand.
Leave me alone.
Somebody said it. I forgot what it was. They said, imagine if this would have been for the WWE title. That's why they're feuding. These matches should have been for the title. But because
Well, you heard what Brock when he it's not funny because he beat up Cody Rhodes. They were supposed to be a tag team. He said he was pissed that he wasn't in the main event of WrestleMania. Like, bro, he didn't care. He's like, no, I don't care. It should have been me versus Roman because that's he had a vendetta against Roman too. You know what I mean? And Brock Lesnar, even though he does what Brock Lesnar wants to do, he knew he was like, yo, I have to. I got unfinished business with Roman, and then that was kind of taken away from him by Cody Rhodes. So that's kind of why he's been beating him up. Cody Rhodes is just like
they're gonna end up having like 42 matches, like Roman and Brock did. So I don't even know.
There's these old school Dusty Rhodes theme stories that Cody likes to tell, and when you have an antagonist like the Beast Brock Lesnar, we've talked about this to nausea. If we've watched the Cody Rhodes documentary, Brother Brandon, did you get a chance to watch it, Brother Hugh?
Yes, I did.
Okay, what'd you think about it?
Man, I liked it. I loved it.
It was amazing.
It was very similar to not Dark Side of the Ring. It was a documentary I watched on his father.
Yeah, was it biography? AE?
I think it was. Yeah, it might have been that.
Okay,
but it was very similar to that. I mean, the story he told. That's his thing. The story behind it, like, man, it's crazy. Like I came out of that show like honestly, he's probably like one of my favorite wrestlers now, just from the story. Because
I felt the
had
propaganda
a personal attachment to him too, coming out of surgery, this, that, whatever. And I was just like, that really hit me. So I was just like, he's doing his thing.
Nah, Cody's that dude, man. One thing I'll say about Cody is Cody that I'll say is that when I look at him and just his success now after he left AEW, I was like, man, I remember we used to watch him with the Bullet Club, and I was like, man, he doesn't even belong in the Bullet Club. He's got a suit on, for goodness sake. Like, Bullet Club was very Japanese, very, very counterculture, very cool, and I was just like, man, this dude doesn't belong there. And then I think he just
shirt up in his pants. Remember, he was folding the shirt in his pants and wearing it that way.
Man. Like, I think he just proved the whole thing, and I think that's why the Elite said we're going to resign with AEW, because like, bro, you were never one of us. You know what I mean? Like, you tried to be, you were here by default, but the reality is, it's like Cody Rhodes said, I never used to call WWE home. He said, but there's no doubt in my mind, without a shadow of a doubt, this is my home. I'm like, man, I don't know what the heck happened behind closed doors, but anyways. But
let me say this about the documentary. This is what I was going to throw at y'all.
Mm-hmm.
Do you realize that, or let me ask you this, do you think we would have got this documentary in the way we did with Vince McMahon still being 100% hands in? Or do you think it's because of Triple H's influence and because the reach that WWE has, and Cody basically saying, hey, I'm not going to say why I left. I need this footage, and be able to name drop these places? Because I was surprised that they had Matt and Nick from All In, plus even had stuff from AEW in this footage.
Yeah,
I was
definitely Triple H vibes.
I was about to say, that's all Triple H.
Because Vince would have been all business. No, we're not doing that.
Else. But the crazy part, I don't know if y'all picked up on this. Cody said, I don't want this to be cut out. I'm not going to say why I left, but I'm going to tell you some other factors. And then immediately Triple H said what Cody couldn't say. Cody left, and I don't give it everyone say. He left because he wanted to be the world champion. He wanted to be WWE champion, and he couldn't. That's why he factored himself into that match that he couldn't be the AEW world champion because he didn't want to.
Ooh,
he didn't.
That is. I'm saying right now, though, I think Triple H is. I call bullspit on Triple H. I really do though, because don't get me wrong, I think that's true, but something else happened, bro. Because remember,
I'm say something else that happened, and remember, Cody said I wasn't mature enough to be an EVP. I wanted to wrestle. Wanted, and he said, and he realized that everybody had grown up, and it was one other thing. He called it home, but when Bruce Pritchard they found out his contract was over, you notice he said, I made a call within 5 minutes.
He said, I sent out feelers to a third party. He said 5 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
You don't think he went to Kevin Owens and said, hey, is your boy contract up?
Are you,
hold on,
bro?
Cody, call Bruce right now.
Are you blowing the whistle, bro? Breaking news, brother.
Kevin Owens nah, it was Kevin. One, and now, correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Kevin Owens the one that put him in touch with the Young Bucks?
Shoot. Yeah,
I want to say yeah.
When he left, you're right. I forgot about that. He did say that.
Hey, these are the guys that because remember, Cody, I remember the list, and the list is what got him over. Did you check out that footage from MCW and Evolve? Did y'all notice that?
I did. It's those stomping grounds. Look at him.
Yep. Bro, but I'm telling you, it was.
He said in that interview, you're right.
It had so much Triple H dust. I said, they're giving us all the reasons. Because it was, you got to go prove yourself because he never had a chance to prove himself before he got there. He had to go do the reverse of what everybody else did. He had to do a reverse Daniel Bryan. He had to go prove himself, then come back. But he would have proved himself as a smart person for the business. So when Vince said, we're buying you,
there you go.
That's what we want. They wanted the American Nightmare.
I totally forgot.
They wanted that whole brand.
Yep. Did you remember that it came from Japan?
I forgot completely.
You know
the best part about the whole thing was, bro, it brought back so many memories because I was like, bro, we watched every last bit of this. Like you watching like, yep, I remember this, I remember that from literally from the minute he left. Remember we were tracking down his first matches and stuff like that, trying to scour on YouTube.
Yeah, he put Roger Strong on this. I remember being excited about that.
Bro, and then I was like, "Oh shoot, you're right. He was the American Nightmare." And it was
started in Japan.
Yeah, was that a Wrestle Kingdom show?
I think it was.
Yeah, because that was Tokyo. Wrestle Kingdom's always in the Tokyo Dome. So I was like, "Oh shoot!" And then that's when he really became who he became. But I was like, "Man, something." Because I see he forgets that when he did a shoot interview where something happened. Where he wasn't allowed, like he legally couldn't speak on what happened. Remember something went down. He was like, legally I can't speak on it. We
his name. He had to stop using his name.
I'm talking about whatever because he was on his way to get his name back. Remember, he got his name back late in AEW. It's because
remember he got it ripped from him when
the trademark ran out.
Yes,
and Triple H told Vince like just let him have it, please. Like let him, you know what I mean, and. Something and I remember something I forgot what happened, but I remember Cody was kept saying I can't legally I can't say anything about it, and they asked Tony Khan. And Tony's like, well, we can't. We all signed the NDAs, like legally we can't speak on it. Like we both that was the agreement. Like we're not going to beef about it, but we also can't speak on it ever again, and we can't speak on it to the press publicly. So it is what it is. Triple H came with that covered,
but that pector, I knew it was a story behind it. And he said that was the worst pain he ever felt, but he wanted to put that match on because he knew that was going to solidify him as the white hot baby face that the world needed to see.
Yeah, big time. And he didn't lose any momentum.
He didn't.
Nope.
But with all that being said, full circle, is that enough for this chapter of this Cody Rhodes story where we say this is going to allow him to conquer the beast onto the next? Because I'm gonna tell you right now. They're still pumping up this whole WWE Championship moment, and I'm like, man, I don't know where this is going to go, but I'm like, Brock Lesnar is going to get this man ready. This could be a Rock McFoley type thing, where you know what I mean, where it's like, all right, man, you got to go through some major players to get to this point. Yeah. And now that you've climbed that mountain and you've slayed that beast, Roman, you next. So you're already having family issues, and you're already a shell of yourself because things ain't going right with you. Like I said, guys can lose championship, girls can lose championships and titles because of lack of focus. You know what I mean? I don't know. What if Jey Uso helps Cody Rhodes? All I know is I watched that documentary. Like, wait a minute, we still talking about this WWE Championship? I thought we was moving on from this. Not to say it wasn't ever going to happen, but I felt the propaganda
It's all about that picture, man.
Cody Rhodes versus Brock Lesnar. Brother Hugh, does Cody Rhodes get it done this time? Look at the conflict on his face. He said,
I
man.
feel like after what happened on Raw over the last couple of weeks, when he goes just him just getting torn apart.
Bro, he doesn't stand a chance. He's getting whooped each week.
Right, but I feel like somehow, some way, he's gonna pull out the win.
Okay.
And then Brock, you know how he goes away. He'll come back later on down the line.
He's another one. It doesn't matter.
He's gonna start it back up. Like I said, they're gonna have 40. They're gonna have 42 matches.
Brock gotta finish his feud with Bobby first, because remember that never came.
Exactly.
Bro, Brock Lesnar is untouchable.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Who you pulling for?
So I mean, I'm going for Cody. Let's go.
Okay,
Cody.
so he conquers the beast, part of the story. Next chapter, right?
Yep.
Brother Brandon. See, first of all, now I'm gonna say right now, Brother Brandon's gonna mess this whole thing up.
Yeah,
he is. No, because I'm gonna let everybody know who's listening to this. I got my mind made up. I'm with Brother Hugh. It makes sense. Now he gonna say something to make me go, oh shoot, now I gotta stop what I'm thinking and add something else to it and figure it out. That's why I'm like talking to y'all, man. Like this is getting overwhelming. I'm getting too old for this, bro.
Look at his face.
Look at him, because he knows. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Brother Brandon. I'm gonna ask you just like I asked Brother Hugh, Brock Lesnar or Cody Rhodes. So look, see the dramatic pause. The dramatic pause. Here it comes.
Cody Rhodes.
Oh,
look at that. Hold on. Here you go. Drew said, here comes the shenanigans.
Because I was going to say, my answer was really, Payback is coming.
There you go. He's been talking about Payback for a month straight, bro.
It makes sense, though.
It does. That's the part that's throwing me off because I keep forgetting that. See, this is, and I'm going to tell you, this is what blows me about it. And this is why I like talking to Brandon, is because he's a constant reminder that Triple H is running the show. It's because Triple H doesn't do the spectacle one-offs. And he proved that with the Rumble. Everything he does is a continuation. He's never going to be like, let's just put on the greatest show on earth tonight, and we'll figure everything else tomorrow morning. Be up 6 hours trying to make Raw make sense the next week because now he's got to, you know what I mean? That's how the old regime used to do it. Versus Triple H is like, no, we're going to sacrifice the moment. It's because we're going to build to these bigger moments. And like I said, if you're willing to sacrifice your Rumble for a bigger WrestleMania, these small pay-per-views don't stand a goddamn chance. And he keeps saying, oh, yeah, don't forget there's Payback. I'm like, oh, shoot. That means and once again, they brought that back for a reason. That's the rubber.
The NXT, just as a side note.
I mean, I like how they're recycling old pay-per-view titles too, and it's pretty cool.
Look at Dylan. This is what I was going to say later on.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I'm telling you, Payback is the perfect thing for the Fiend to come back.
Hey, there's a story to tell there.
But
okay, in the NXT days,
when we finish this, I'm gonna tell you something about Payback, which what I thought about the other day.
Let me ask you a question. If there was a situation where the Fiend would come back, who would he go after?
Cody.
Ah, shoot. Oh man, you talk about another chapter to that story. But if Bray, can it be a bad guy still? He's too over.
Is he?
He tried to be a bad guy.
They're probably tired of Bray by now. Keep disappearing and whatnot. I don't know what's going on.
I don't know.
But I feel like Triple H and they'll find some way to flip that NXT rookie, veteran or whatever story.
Shoot.
Remember they were paired up back in the day?
I forgot. I didn't know. I forgot just that quick.
Yeah. So I feel like they're gonna flip that somehow, some way, and they can make that happen. Because who else is Bray gonna attack if he shows up?
I can see it now, though. Still, you're talking about a nightmare, man. I'll tell you about a nightmare.
And he needs another wrinkle to his story. Like once he conquers Brock, or like, all right, Brock is not gonna show up for another couple of months. Now you need somebody else to.
He's the white meat baby face, though. Like that would be creepy. Like now Cody's got to go through first. Like this guy had to go through. First of all, he lost. He lost at Mania. He had to win the Rumble. First of all, he had to go through Gunta. He goes through Gunta, gets to Mania, loses the Mania, tries to get himself together, tries to get a rematch, got to deal with Brock, beats Brock. Now say, okay, cool, on to the biggest prize. Now deal with freaking crazy Bray Wyatt. And now it's got to, man. Dusty Rhodes will be proud, my son there, Cody there. See if you will.
And somehow, some way, it all leads to the boss.
Well, listen, can you imagine his promo after he's had to fight everybody? I've been through hell. He's gonna sound like
I went from undeniable to what do you say? Undesirable to undeniable.
He's going
not deny me my title match.
He's going to sound like Undertaker when he was fed up with Kane beating him up. Kane, I will walk through the fires of hell. I was like, uh-oh. You done pissed that. Like, Undertaker don't even scream during this era. You done pissed him off, Kane.
I was like, Dad, Kane.
No disrespect to you, brother. I know it's your guy, but
hey, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, oh gosh, he messed up Kane.
At that point, you knew Undertaker was pissed off. He's screaming. Yeah. He don't ever scream promos. He got lightning coming from his fist. I said, uh-oh, you did something. You did the wrong thing, brother. You went too far, Kane. I will walk through the fires of hell to get to you, Kane. I was like, uh-oh. I believe him. I believe him. Like, I can imagine Cody doing the same thing. He's going to have one heck of a promo.
Oh, man, that promo is going to be epic.
You talking about lions, tigers, and bears. Oh, my.
After he win the Elimination Chamber next year. So what do you want to talk about? Let me tell you about how my last year went, how we got to this point.
He's not going to be afraid of anything. Like, by the time he becomes champion, he's going to been through hell and back. Oh, man, Cody. Okay, so Cody Rhodes. You got Cody Rhodes beating Brock Lesnar?
Yeah.
Brother Brandon, Cody Rhodes beating Brock Lesnar?
Yes.
I got Cody Rhodes beating Brock Lesnar. He's going to conquer the beast. It's not the first time, it won't be the last time. Uh-oh. Dylan's over there cooking. This is why Dylan's a part of the show. He just keeps Dylan and Drew.
Right, they're going at it right now.
You guys are making the situation worse. Because once again, I got my mind made up. Then I'm like, oh crap. Now I gotta rethink some things, man. But I definitely shout out to my guys.
When we finish this, I'm gonna give you one thing to think about that you're gonna probably hate me for.
In regards to what? What was that?
Are we ready for the main event?
What, the Battle Royal?
I'm not worried about the Battle Royal. We know LA Knight is gonna win that, so we can skip.
Is it that obvious to LA Knight?
Yeah.
Hey, that's it.
Well said. Moving on.
Keep it moving.
Well said. You don't follow that. Okay. All right, good brothers. Here we go. We're at the last part of our show. We've gone quite the length. We've gone 2 hours, but it's the SummerSlam preview goddamn show. No, that's not true.
Are you serious?
I don't know. Is this the thing?
I think it is coming up. I think it's coming up. I thought it was in time for Mania that it would be coming up.
Dustin said that he's in love with AEW. He's got no problem with it. I remember when Cody left. He's like, "Look, man, I love AEW. I got no beef with it." But Dustin Rhodes is older. Like we always had those legacy runs where it's like, all right, well, it's like Diamond. First of all, when Cody left AEW, he took all his people with him. He took DDP with him. I was like, everybody that came with him, he just took him like over there because like when DDP was on AEW, like he never got shunned from WWE, like because that like when you're a Hall of Famer, you're like grandfathered in, like the rules don't apply to you. Same thing with Jake the Snake and stuff like that.
It's a snap into the Slim Jim.
But wow. Ooh yeah, snip to Slim Jim, yeah. SummerSlam Battle Royal.
Why was that snap so loud? Was I the only one that always used to like try to bite it and hear that snap? Oh,
right. It was ladies and gentlemen, we got a run in.
Because he heard Roman Reigns. He heard Roman Reigns. He said, "Oh no,
he's in the streets.
I gotta be there." They said my tribal chief.
Bro,
I'm here. Don't worry.
You're here in time for the main event.
Did you finish your workout?
I wish I was working out.
Yeah, he brother Hugh told your fans that they're like, Brian is probably out there getting jacked, pumping iron. So, we figured that's what you was doing.
Mm-hmm.
But okay, just that fast he was gone.
All right.
But good brothers, the undisputed. Oh man, these shows are great, man. You guys. Like I said, Brian just got mugged. Brian is in the streets. I don't know what the heck is going on. He probably just wait. He said, okay, his mama called. When your mama calls, you gotta answer. Brian, should be back in a second.
Oh yeah.
But we'll kind of continue our childish banter. We have the undisputed Universal Championship, right? We've had one of the most massive buildups to such a match that I can remember, right? We have Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso. Jey Uso being the first person to pin Roman Reigns clean. Is it considered clean? Clean in almost 3 years, right?
It was definitely clean.
Jimmy, there he go. Look, check him out. It was definitely clean. Jimmy Uso. Jimmy Uso, I think he's just taking time off to spend time with his wife. Everybody knows he loves his wife, and they're separated right now. So he's like, I need some time with my woman. I'm not mad at you. Jey Uso versus Roman Reigns, and most likely Solo Sikoa and the Wise Man. All the odds are stacked against Jey Uso, and I'm gonna be honest with you. all the momentum in the world, all the promos. I haven't seen enough from Jey Uso to make me believe that he has a chance. That he has a chance against Roman Reigns.
Oh my God.
This weekend to try to sit there and pull this off. I don't know what you call it. I don't know what type of whatever, but it's just like, man, as great as the story as it will be for it to end the way this, I don't see a way where Jey Uso walks away. Now, what I'm probably more concerned about the Most Good Brothers is where do we go from here? Because I'm telling you right now, I don't think it ends. Once again, because as Brother Brandon keeps telling everybody, it's payback next month. And I'm just like, man, there's got to be more to the story. They're not ending this bloodline storyline no time soon. It doesn't end here. So I ask you guys, let's just get straight to the fruit punch of it all. The fruit punch. You know, people get straight to the punch, straight to the fruit punch. Does Jey Uso freaking stand a chance against Roman Reigns and all the shenanigans that freaking come with the goddamn bloodline? I don't know what to think. I don't know what to do. I don't know.
I don't want to think anymore.
I don't. It's Triple H's fault, bro. This used to be really simple.
Hey, bro.
This used to be really, really simple. Brian H., we know you're on ball time.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear what you have to say, brother.
No, Jey Uso doesn't stand a chance against the Tribal Chief. It's great storytelling. You can
you already called him the Tribal Chief. He doesn't call him Roman. He called him the Tribal Chief.
The Tribal
yeah.
Chief.
Good. Uh-huh.
But it's you brought up a good point, right? You talked about not getting enough out of the promos. And some people even saying like this doesn't feel like, I guess, I don't know. I've been enjoying the story because it's different. Everything gotta be, I'm screaming at you, you're screaming at me. Because like you said, this is a family issue.
Bingo.
So they're handling differently than normal. And this is where the wrestler intellect is often separated. Because when you broke it down, a lot of stuff in here with this whole family, it's stuff that like we've been introduced to Samoan culture more these past 3 years than we've ever been before.
True.
And that's the thing. Like, so part of me, no, I don't think he has a chance. However, it'd be interesting. It'd be cool. The pop is certainly going to be there. I just don't see it happening. I think, I think when it's all said and done, I think Roman gets the win. But I think there'll be, I don't want to say, I kind of feel like they're going to either make up, or I think the swerve would be somehow or another Jimmy coming in and turning on Jay. I really see that happening, but I feel like that's a more closer to WrestleMania just because, and this is also coming from me watching a lot of the interviews of the dream match of them two facing each other. As much as
That's
I like, and you try to ignore that stuff, but it's always there. You know what I mean? So, but and Brandon
and those have had a break in almost 4 years outside of 3 years now, right?
Yeah, but and then I was going to say, like, you've been bringing up the fact that something else nobody's talking about. The word's payback. That's the next show, and so something's going to happen.
I'm looking past SummerSlam. I keep thinking about because it's a reason Payback was brought back and announced at SummerSlam. Because he could have put anything else behind there, but he decided to put it. He strategically did it, and I don't. Yep, it's strategic. So do you said Jimmy turns on Jay?
That's a possibility, but either way, it's got to be a big splash, right? It's going to end the show. We're talking a stadium show, so it's gotta end with a big splash. You feel me? Like if you look back at Royal Rumble, it ended with a big splash. To the extent Elimination Chamber ended with a big splash. WrestleMania, yeah, you could say. Maybe not as big as the other two, but what was the one? Night of Champions, when they turned on them. So we have these big splashes. So I think we get another big splash in there.
So I'm gonna ask him. Oh, Drew beat me to it. I was gonna ask you what you think about that because the whole thing about Grayson Waller calling out The Rock, and now all this buzz around The Rock. Does he make an appearance, and that's your big splash?
Oh my gosh, I will mark out.
But that's, I mean, have you seen the reports? And that's what it is, because Grayson Waller keeps calling him out, and The Rock is. Somebody said, I can't remember which YouTuber said it. You know, whenever The Rock does bad in one aspect, he always comes back to WWE.
Yeah,
that was me. I said that. I said that. You kidding me? I'm telling you.
I said one YouTube show said it.
Bro.
But with Grayson Waller keeps calling him out, and you know, the Vince McMahon wouldn't like you saying something unless it comes to fruition. But the Triple H just like, say whatever you want, do whatever you want. You know what I mean? And it's almost like a thing where if he does, is SummerSlam the right time to lead us to Survivor Series or to lead us to Mania? Because I'm with Cody. I don't think we need The Rock at Mania last year, but we might need him down as another wrinkle in the bloodline.
Is it so? You're saying you think it's time for The Rock to kind of insert Rock here?
You do need something.
I don't think we needed him at Mania because we had plenty of other things, but now I think we need him to do something. You know what I mean? Like to add that extra joke, because if you didn't bring Rikishi, you didn't bring anybody else to the family. I'm still on the fact in the back of my mind that The Rock's mother is the elder. She's the head of. She's the actual head.
That would be so cool, man.
I'm still because she's the direct lineage to High Chief Peter Maivia. She is the elder that said so.
We definitely.
I think she's the one that's going to be revealed to Sin Solo. She's the one that recommended Tribal Combat. Remember, he said that it was their what did he say? What was his exact words? It was their idea. What if she's the elder that's been saying this? And The Rock is sent to knock him down to put the family back together. Because Roman has become that tirade, not what the bloodline was supposed to be, to put him back in order.
I listen. It will make sense to me. It's because Roman's father is what she is. Roman's father is one half of the Wild Samoan. So it's like, if he was one of the elders, why wouldn't it be known that my father said? You know what I'm saying? Like, out of respect, he was already a top guy, but like Brian H said, like you guys said, Ata Maivia Johnson, she is a direct descendant of their chief,
the High Chief.
Like the High Chief was legit the High Chief of Samoa. Like that wasn't like a moniker. Like that wasn't a gimmick. It was real.
And they always show on camera when she's there. Think about it. She's known well enough to know if she's the one that has been revealed to have sent Solo. She's the one that recommended Trump. And then if he still ain't get right, The Rock is the one that, hey, I'm sending him to get you in line. Because Roman said on the interview, sometimes that's our industry. We fight. We might disagree. We're going to fight it out. And like you said, Dwayne, this could be just to bring them all back together.
And that's the thing. That's the missing piece, honestly. This is one of the matches that I said before when we first got started. I said at least 3 of these matches are not going to have anything to do with the championship. Like this has absolutely nothing to do with the Undisputed Universal Championship.
It really doesn't.
Like if Brock Lesnar was out there, I'm like, okay, Brock, like he might beat this dude, right? But it's been well documented how much all this has kind of played into itself, and it's like I find myself saying to myself, what's really supposed to happen in this main event? What is this going to do? It's supposed to be a match between Jey Uso and Roman Reigns. Who's going to win? But I'm like, man, no, this is going to be a means to an end. And not like the end of the storyline, but like this the means to the end of, hey, this is how this is going down this particular moment. Like what's going to happen next? What is this supposed to lead to? And I find myself trying to figure out more what that's going to be rather than the actual finish of the goddamn match. Because I'm saying to myself, okay, Jay, what are you hoping to accomplish? Because you could beat Roman Reigns. You could beat him up as long as you get your point across. What if Roman decides, okay, it's fine. All right. Does anybody really know the consequences of losing the trial by combat match?
Ooh, that's a good point.
Like, this is what I'm saying. This is what Brother Hugh said. Like, there's, and what Brian was saying, it's like, there's a lot about Samoan culture that we're not familiar with. Mm-hmm. And they could be purposely leaving out certain information. So it's like, where do we go from here? Like, I don't know what I was watching. I don't know how many times I thought the NWO was going to split up because Macho Man and Hogan was beefing. And I remember like it was yesterday.
Day, bro.
I mean, it doesn't get old, right? And I remember, I don't know. Where was the place in WCW? It wasn't Bash at the Beach, but it's the one time they would go. What's the place they would go with, and it would be like a little swimming. No. It was a swimming pool. They was on a beach somewhere.
Mall of America? Was that Mall?
No,
not
it wasn't. No, it was outside. Was it like
Nitro,
I can't,
right?
Yeah, it was not. I keep want to say Palm Springs. I don't think it was Palm Springs. It was somewhere.
No, that's
somewhere in Florida.
Because freaking Scott Hall and Kevin Nash came out with little beach shirts on, and because they would go there once a year, or whatever it was. You know what I mean? Like, kind of a party beach atmosphere. Like, it wasn't like a normal stadium. It was like people standing up, like. And I remember Macho Man came out.
You talking about Bash? You're not talking about Bash at the beach, right?
No, you're not talking about Bash.
Because it was a Nitro. Like, they did it every year, but like it was like on their little Nitro list. Like, yeah, like every time the summertime we go here for Nitro, and it wasn't an actual ring. Like, people were standing up, and there was a little pool before you get to the ring, and it was when Macho Man and Hogan had been beefing for months, and then I think Macho Man helped. I think he turned on Sting or somebody. Mind you, Macho Man.
It was Panama City.
Panama City. Okay, that's what it was. Yeah.
It was spring break, right?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yep. Every spring break they would do that. And Macho Man, I forgot what they were fresh off of. But like I said, I feel like it was when, I don't know if it's that cage match or what, but Hogan and Savage were beefing. They've had a match or two, whatever the case may be. And all of a sudden, at the pay-per-view, the finish was Hogan, Macho turned on whoever, saved Hogan. He walked out of there. And Eric Bischoff comes out there with Miss Elizabeth, Macho Man Randy Savage, and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, let me be the first one to say, Macho Man, welcome back to the NWO." And then Macho Man slaps the microphone out of Eric Bischoff's hand, and everybody's confused. And Eric was like, "What's wrong? What's wrong? Did I say? What was wrong?" And Macho Man grabs the mic and he goes, "I never left the NWO, Eric Bischoff." Everybody starts going crazy, and I remember being a kid saying, "Wait a minute, what do you mean you never left the NWO? You've been tag teaming with freaking Luger, the Giant, and Sting for months now, facing Hogan and NWO guys, and you saying all this time you were still part of the group?" And I'm like, some things they always say is for life, and if you look at the NWO was meant to mimic gang culture, right? And sometimes, even in gang culture, part of initiation is getting beat up, right? It's getting jumped in a lot of times. Sometimes it's violence, and it's like, even though that happens, there's no disrespect to you. It's just like, well, this is what it takes to get in. So I say all that to say is, what if after this tribal combat that Jey Uso loses, he has to get back in line, whether he likes it or not.
Yep. And same thing, but then also that could happen with Jimmy too. Right, man. Jimmy got to get his turn, because Roman and Jimmy never had a match.
Well, see, I think that's you remember when Jimmy first came back from his knee surgery, and freaking Roman almost broke his arm.
Yeah,
like, no, boy, he was ready to break Jey Uso's arm, and then Jimmy jumped in like, chill, and then he almost choked Jimmy out. And he's like, "Look, what you gonna do, man? You gonna get in line or not?" And he's like, "All right, man. All right. I hate you. God dang it. We're gonna do this." And then he's like, "That's okay. I had to do this. That's what I needed to do. I had to get you because we family." Same thing, being manipulative. And then all of a sudden, the Bloodline became the most dominant thing in professional wrestling. Who's to say that this doesn't happen again? Brother Brandon's over there making faces, and he's doing that thing again.
Remember, Roman said that too, though. Like, what was it, a couple weeks ago? He said, "Look, what happened to Jey? What's going to happen with Jey? Yo, he's going to fall in line like he always do." Remember, he said that walking up to the ring.
He definitely said that.
Yep.
He definitely said that. So maybe they sit there just waiting for them to fall in line. Maybe it's no beef. Like, even at their when Solo tried to jump in at their little quote unquote their little fake contract signing,
he still protected Jey.
The interaction they had.
Solo. He didn't protect Solo. He let Solo eat that super kick.
Yeah. So Solo's the heater. He takes all the bumps. but Solo was out of pocket though, and Roman looked at him like, "Nah, young boy, you don't know what you're doing." So he deserved to get dropped. So I don't know, Brother Brandon. What's your take on this, man? I'm confused, because he go ahead and spit it, because he.
I'm confused too because I'm telling you, I'm still saying Payback. I think it's a bigger story that we're missing because SummerSlam is going to happen. We know we're going to get drama fell, a tear is going to be shed. Somebody's going to be upset. Roman's still going to go to WrestleMania as champion, but the bigger story is going to be Payback. Something crazy, whether it be a triple threat match, whether it be, and I know I don't want to say The Rock is going to be at Payback versus Roman. Right, you need to save that for a bigger stage, but I'm just saying something with the bloodline is going to divide them. That Payback, that's going to be the theme of Payback. We already had the Civil War that fit in with Money in the Bank. We got this match now. What's the next chapter that's going to keep us saying, oh, because they fall in line, but what if Solo is the cause of Roman almost losing, and he makes Jay fight Solo?
That's the point, though. Yeah, we don't know. That's to make the beauty of
because nobody's supposed to be ringside, right? He disobeyed him. He saw him bushing Solo, but Solo Samoan spikes him.
Yeah.
So once again, Solo is becoming unhinged as of lately. He's starting to get impatient.
Right.
He's trying to be
He's starting to smell himself.
that too. Bless you.
Thank you.
You know,
I just think that's something. I hate this. I think we need more family members, and I don't want to say wrestlers as family members. I'm just saying I think we need, like the thing about Rikishi. Rikishi's going to keep living off his run, but now he's living through his sons. And like all the interviews, he's like, "Oh, I can't really talk about it." He's drumming up some stuff to keep the storyline because that storyline is keeping him relevant. But why not bring him in? And hey, do you really want to do this? You need to fall in line. He's doing this for our family. Or look what happened to your brother. You really want this to happen to you? You know what he's capable of. Or Solo, what are you doing? Why are you not backing your brother? I mean, you got a father with 3 sons that's being ruled by the older cousin.
See, I just thought about.
What's that?
You know who's not busy on that day? Not family, but due to circumstances, he ain't busy doing SummerSlam. Sami Zayn.
Oh my God.
The whole thing is.
I forgot about Sami. Sami don't have nothing to do. He can be in Jay's corner.
And the whole thing is family members can't get involved, right? What if he comes out there and just get in Jay? Because he has a affinity for Jay Uso.
He still owes Roman one though. Let's keep it 100.
Exactly.
So I just said it was gonna be Brandon doing this. Now here you come on to what you call it. Now you doing it. Like I was fun. Now I'm sitting like
I forgot about him. That could be
this is contagious. When y'all get to talking, the rest of the minds get to cooking.
Because he did say, "I acknowledge you as the tribal chief." Remember, he told him that. And what if he comes to the ring? What if he comes to the ring and calls him the match, and now we get Jay? Because we never got a big match of Jay versus Sami while Kevin is hurt. Who did you want, Jay and Sami, or did you want Jimmy and Sami? Which one was it, Brian?
Back then, I wanted Jay and Sami.
It was Jay, yeah.
Okay.
Because Jay, he keeps telling him, like, dude, like, and Kevin Owens, remember, his whole thing is like, yo, leave them alone. We got the belts. What are you doing? And now Kevin Owens home. So then you got a story made for when Kevin Owens come back. This thing is so wide open.
That's the key right there, buddy.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's so many different directions you can go in. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like you said, it's not so much about the result. It's about this is one of the matches where it's like, okay, what's going to happen, and what's going to we kind of like, all right, and then who knows? This will be the one they swerve us. We're like, yeah, ain't no way Roman will lose. And next thing you know, Sunday morning, we waking up with Jey Uso as WWE champion, or let Ben tell it, all the Judgment Day, because Damian Priest is still out there. He might get bold enough and say, you know what, I can cash in.
Oh, he can cash in that way with the blood.
Holy
we focus on the world title. We forgot about that. Oh, but it is for any title. It is for any title.
It is.
We got that Intercontinental title still.
Mm-hmm.
I can't take this, man.
We totally forgot about it. He might. Ooh, it fits the whole moment. Bro. They could gang warfare, beat him up, and then take the. Oh my God! What if they swerve us? I don't think they would swerve us that way with Damien. But it failed cash in, and all of the Bloodline versus the Judgment Day. Oh my God.
Oh,
Dirty
man.
Dog.
And
Dirty Dog will get
Heyman turn.
Dirty Dog will get Samoa
Remember
Spike.
Heyman? Remember Heyman was sitting there. He was whispering to them months ago, right after WrestleMania.
He was.
You know.
What if Solo beats Dirty Dom for that North American Championship? That title that he had to give up.
This
The
is
title
this
he
is
never lost.
That is true.
Remember he had to
Wants
relinquish
to give it up.
Bro.
Yeah.
Did y'all say who did y'all think was going to win the world title match? The two y'all did. Who y'all say? I didn't get a chance to listen to that part. I was jumping in and out.
No, yeah, I know I don't. Wait, Barnes, let me fill you in. Originally, when we went through the card, I told the brothers, I said, man, there's at least 3 or 4 of these matches on here that are not going to have anything to do with these championships or the outcome. It's going to be something else that's going to be the driving force for this whole match. And this World Heavyweight Championship was one of them, is because I told them, I said, this whole situation between Seth Rollins, they're going to give us a 30-minute great match, and then it's going to be overshadowed by the Judgment Day's involvement, because there's so many factors that go into what could happen, what couldn't happen as far as the Judgment Day. None of the Judgment Day is booked for anything else. Maybe the SummerSlam Battle Royal, I'm not sure. Rhea didn't have a match. Dom, I don't think has a match, and Damian Priest is, Money in the Bank. What reason would he have to win that SummerSlam Battle Royal? He has a world championship contract like in his grasp, and we talked about it was tough to figure out. We're like, okay, if we didn't know if that was going to affect the outcome in a way where we were like, bro, who comes out of this match live? Because does Seth win? Does Finn win? I don't remember we even came to a conclusion. What did we even say?
I don't think we came to a conclusion.
I don't think we came to a conclusion. We just moved on.
We gave up because it was too much
dust.
You said what? Too much dust.
I think it's Finn's time. Maybe I'm just hopeful. And some part of me want to say Rollins, but I think it's Finn's time. Then if I jump out of kayfabe real quick, I think Rollins sits down and heals his body a little bit.
Everybody's talking about that.
Everybody said he's a left finger heal so he can come back strong for Mania.
Because if he don't, he's gonna miss Mania.
Because it's best for him to heal than to sit there and try to push yourself, and then because he's been there before.
Exactly.
Man, but then what does that do to the Judgment? Do to the Judgment Day with Damian Priest?
You still got Cody over Raw and Judgment Day. You got enough to carry over Raw.
Payback.
See, there it is. Payback.
Cash it, and then we get Finn versus Priest at Payback.
Is that the end of the Judgment Day?
It could be, or you could have a Macho Man Hogan situation.
But
it's no, it's not. They're not strong enough faction. But
I said what if is one of the scenarios I went into, Brian. I said, what if Damian Priest decides to interject himself into this match, triple threat match? Finn takes out Seth Rollins, and what if Damian Priest goes, well, screw it, and just tosses Finn out, goes for the pin, or goes for another razor's edge, whatever he does, one of his moves, takes out Seth Rollins. You know what I mean? Or or push come to shove, what if Seth Rollins takes out Finn, and then he tosses Seth Rollins out the ring and he pins Finn?
Yeah.
This is why we moved on earlier. This is the issue that we had. But yeah, man. Once again, we got nothing accomplished here today. I'm drained. Like this is not what we came here for. Listen to me, Brian H. This used to be so easy, Brian. Back in the day, it was so predictable. We could talk about it from an intelligence standpoint. We out here once again every goddamn week, like it's the Bray Wyatt saga all over again. Trying to figure out what's going on, trying to make sense of a lot of these things, and I'm like, bro, this is becoming more and more difficult to do. But man, we had a 3-part series. We had a road to SummerSlam, man. This is our 3rd show. This is the last stop for us, man, and I'm exhausted. But we have exhausted every possible thought resources, and at our age, at our space, and our time in wrestling, man, we're Triple H has got us stumped, man. And you know what? I love it. I feel like a goddamn kid again. I'm excited. Like once again, you guys did it again. Congrats. You guys sold me on SummerSlam. I was excited to watch it, but now I'm like, oh wow, now I've really got to watch this, because I'm sitting there like, oh shoot, here we go. But man,
they can't get here fast enough.
Listen, trust me, brother. I can imagine, man. But SummerSlam 2003, Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. I know we went a little bit late. Shout out to our guys that enjoyed us in the chat. Dylan, Drew, Brother Raj, the Flex on, everybody else that participated. Yeah, he's chilling. Like this is nice afternoon show. Right. He's cold max right now, man. So, but we definitely appreciate you.
Let's go on note that Dylan said he wants Damian Priest to cash it on Mello.
It's too easy. It's too easy.
Nah, Mello and Wesley about to cook though.
You think so?
They're gonna have some good matches. Yeah. They're about to have good matches.
Yeah, they will. But once again, though, I don't know.
They in NXT. That's where they need to stay.
I'm harder on smaller guys.
We know. but remember, both of them are Shawn Michaels kids.
True.
And they're also Shawn Michaels fans, so they still getting that sauce.
True.
You know what I mean?
Big time.
They're getting a lot of Shawn Michaels sauce. So that's the thing. Like, you know, and it's funny, like when they did the draft, we saw Shawn Michaels getting like upset. Like, come on, man, you keep taking my guys. Like all those people, well, off the top of my head, the ones I remember vividly, like, you know, Zoe Stark, who I didn't think was like all that in NXT, but she's been doing her thing.
I was impressed with her performance at the Rumble.
Yeah.
See, y'all didn't know her before she got hurt. That's why. Y'all didn't get to see her in NXT before she got hurt.
But see, that was the thing. In NXT, I felt like there was the personality was bland. You know, I thought she could work. I just felt the personality was bland. But now I'm like, okay, I see it better. And then you got Pretty Deadly, who I enjoyed their work at NXT. Like you can see there's a reason why.
They're really good.
Casey and Kaden Carter, those two, you know, so like they called up the right ones. And I'm excited to see what happens now.
Where the Alba Fire? What you call it? They've been on SmackDown.
Oh yeah, where are they?
Well, you know, the SmackDown Women's Division, Tag Division is, you know.
They just came up to unify the titles.
Right. But overall, though, I think I love what Shawn Michaels doing. Y'all know, like, I'm a Bret Hart guy, but producer Shawn, man, he been killing. That's the reason why I'm glad AEW didn't make Bret Hart an agent, as much as I love Bret, because I know how he was going to be miserable in that job. He don't know it yet.
Especially them young guys that don't listen to no goddamn body.
Exactly. The time he was like, wait, you need to tell stories. No, we don't tell stories, Bret. We do car crashes and we do big spots. And then next thing you know, 6 months later, he was been complaining about it.
Right.
He did him a favor.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. though. I was like, no, man, I know you want to do wrestling stuff, but trust me, that AEW is not right now. I think they're trying to figure things out. I just started watching the shows. Let's just leave it at that, though. But, but ladies and gentlemen, we ask you to follow us on all social media platforms at The Wrestling Realm. Subscribe to Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube at The Wrestling Realm. Championship Culture. Brother Brandon, can you tell everybody when does Championship Culture come?
Every Tuesday at 8 p.m. You can check us out on youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm, or go see any of the previous shows under the playlist of Championship Culture.
That's right. That is youtube.com/The Wrestling Realm. The playlist is Championship Culture, as the Belt King himself said. Good brothers, man, we did it again. We're getting good at this, man. At some point, it's time for somebody to start cutting the check. Who's available? You want to hire the Wrestling Realm to pay us to be the Wrestling Realm? By all means, just email us at wrestlingrealm@gmail.com for all business inquiries. Brian, it should be more than happy to get back to you. Trust me, he does. This is quick. Trust me.
The marketing manager.
I would say him and Brother Hugh. I was about to say him and Brother Hugh.
Always ready.
They will get back to you immediately. I guarantee it. But the brothers, man, you guys, I appreciate you guys, man. I hate talking to y'all because it's like, man, it's just not as simple. But it's like you guys, I feel like you guys have properly got me ready for SummerSlam. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready for this, man. I'm ready. I'm looking forward to it. I'm that much more excited to see the show as I was before we had this conversation. But that's what this is about. I might be selfish about the situation, but it's like, hey, man, if you're like me, you listening to the Wrestling Realm Now podcast, man, this has got to be some of the best wrestling conversation out there, man, because we push each other. That's what good brothers do. We push each other beyond our own personal thoughts, ideas, concepts, history, everything that comes with it. And we cause each other to think. Sometimes we come up with similar ideas. Some of us come up with other ideas, man. And I think that's the best part about the dynamic of the show. That and the fact that Brother Brandon Brother Brandon is like a don't do shows with belt guys, okay? Because I swear to goodness, at least we went through the match card. It's like How many matches on here is like, let me see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Bro, like 9, like 7 of these matches came back to championship belts. I don't know how it happened. He's got some type of thing. I'm like, bro, I like halfway had to stop. I said, wait a minute, why we put some emphasis on the titles, even though it made sense. But fool around.
Why did we match Ronda Rousey and Shayna with a belt?
Bro, like somehow we got talking about them and tag teams, and then we got on talking about freaking Chelsea again in Sonya Deville, and once again, and it's this tonight's show has been this ongoing theme of here's the underlying thing for SummerSlam, brother Brian H. is in everything we talked about, especially the championship title matches, in some situations not the championship title matches, it always came back to what's more important to help get over. Is it the championship title that builds the star, or is it the star that builds the title? And where's the trade-off? Every conversation, every topic has come back to that some point. And it started off because I said at least 3 of these matches don't have anything to do with the championships because they got other stuff that's bigger. But then all these other matches that we talked about, those championships played a part in our perception of how excited we are for it, and if adding a title will make it a certain way, or if taking a title away will make it a certain way. So this is once again, you keep fooling around belt guys. This is what you got to deal with. But we're not gonna hold anybody any longer, man. Like I said, tune in to SummerSlam. Follow us on social media. We will be on Twitter. I'm not calling it X. This is not DMX or anything like that. Or Malcolm X. It's just Twitter. But listen, follow us on all social media platforms. Like I said,
see some exclusive stuff from Detroit.
Brian H will be there. Can we say that? Are we allowed to say that? I didn't mean to say it. Okay, I was gonna make sure. I don't like putting your business in the streets.
Brian, do you need the belt? Do you need?
No. See, I knew he was gonna
Brian,
do that.
you need that belt?
That we had.
I
Take it
knew
on
he
the
was
road
gonna do
trip. That right there.
You should have seen it at SummerSlam, and Ciendall took it.
No,
you got the red one?
No, do you need this belt?
Bro, that's my tag title. He keeps hijacking.
First of
all, you know the crazy part is that belt was not up there when the show started, but somehow it's up there when the show was ending. So, but yeah,
because
man.
he was borrowing it next week. So do you need it for this week?
Bro, my belt is going on tour. It's going on tour. It makes no sense. I'm gonna get it back. This is like a running gag each week.
I almost got signatures on it, but I said no, I'll wait.
At least get AJ Styles or Daniel Bryan or Bret Hart or Shawn Michaels.
Oh my God! Listen,
I was going to sign it, and he was going to sign it. And we're gonna put "we were here" every time we went somewhere. I'm gonna say "we were here on this day." I'm gonna use a silver Sharpie on the back and just sign where it's been, so that way you have a journal of where it's been.
Wow.
Hey, Dylan said he needs to hold it.
Bro.
Dylan, let me figure out some shipping costs.
If I see my title in Australia. Oh,
Dylan,
boy.
we'll talk. I'm ready to see how we can ship it.
Let me hear him get my.
Wouldn't it be funny if Dylan changed his profile picture to that picture?
I think I'm gonna take off. I'm gonna take off next week.
He's good with Photoshop, so he'll mess around and do it.
Bro, I need to take off next week so I can get my title back, so I can return his. Because enough is enough, man. We gotta come.
Ain't there a certain thing happening next week?
Nah,
besides my birthday.
I don't recall.
Besides your birthday, it's a party. You ain't know?
Yeah.
It's a party, it's a party, it's a party. It's a party, it's a party, it's a.
Now I see why you be mad when you be on your phone.
I told you.
I don't hear no music.
Bro,
yeah,
it's just like
have to hear the sound.
That's right. You gotta hurry. You gotta hurry. By the time you tap it, the song is already over. Next week,
knock myself out the stream.
Next week, ladies and gentlemen, we have a very special guest coming. Because guess what? We are back in Club Intellect, and we are up for another Wrestling Realm Now podcast body. We have a very, 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 very special guest joining us all the way from the TWG fan club. It's the one, it's the only Ciendall. She will be in the building. Hold on, I gotta give her some proper applause. Let's give her a round of applause. Look at that. Ciendall will be in the building. She is joining the Good Brothers for the Wrestling Realm Now podcast party. It is going to be another insane time. Like I said, we are full of shenanigans as usual, and she is
coming fresh from Detroit too.
Oh, so she'll be fresh out of SummerSlam. So
yep.
Who knows what we'll get into, man? I trust me. If you do not know who this young lady is, trust me, you will know exactly who the heck she is by the time we are done. You talk about a wrestling fan through and through. She has such a crazy perspective. She's done so much, and she's just getting started. And guess what? She is joining the Good Brothers next week for a very special edition of the Wrestling Realm Now podcast party. But until then, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, Brian, can you take this to her?
No, don't take that. Nope, ladies and gentlemen, don't put that in your mind. No.
And
nope.
she can just ship it back to me when she's done.
No, don't do
That's
that.
right.
You wouldn't get that back. I almost didn't get mine back Saturday.
No.
Tell she
And
can borrow
people
it for the
inquired
show.
about it too.
No. See, that's no. See, this is somebody call the police. I want to report a belt hijacking. Ladies and gentlemen, if we don't come back from SummerSlam and I don't have my belt, please notify the authorities. Notify the authorities. It has been taken against my will. It's been traveling. If there's signatures on it, I'm filing charges. We'll see y'all next week, man. We getting out of here. Peace.
Water.